Welcome to the 11th anniversary show for One Nation Radio. My name is Richard Latta II. I'm here with James. We've been off for 2 weeks here. Some of you guys may know, some of you guys may not. A lot of people have reached out to me. I announced on Twitter September 10th, my father passed away at the age of 65. It was a sudden thing. It was nothing I was prepared for. He wasn't sick. It was just, something that you just never think is coming. James, you got to meet my dad one time. And, this has, been really a difficult few weeks for me. Had to go to his house, which is like just one of the hardest things I've ever done. I did get to see him before we cremated him. We still have like memorial stuff to come, so I'll be getting on another plane again eventually. But I just want to say a few things about my dad and just stuff I've written down, and bear with me as I get through this. I'm going to try to not get all choked up, but forgive me if I do. So here's some words about my father, Richard Latta. So my name is Richard Latta II. All my life, I've insisted that people address me as such because it's the way that I was named by my parents, Janet Rivera and the Richard Latta. I was not a junior. I was the second version of Richard Latta to come into this world. Richard Latta was a lot of things, and original was one of them. He was one of the smoothest brothers that ever walked the planet. He had a view of the world and a level of magnetic charisma that could set anyone at ease. He was a mountain of wisdom, even as he's dealt with struggles in his life. I can't speak for anyone else, even my other siblings, but he always showed me his best, and he stressed to me that he saved his best for last, which was what he said to me. I spent so much of my life trying to impress him and live up to that lofty distinction. I didn't think I was superior to any of my siblings, but it was almost an unspoken thing because the words he did use and his actions, he was trying to tell me that we were different than other people. We were this secret club, him and I. We operated with decency, knowledge, and a sense of self. Maybe I was so doe-eyed for my father that his charm worked on me where it failed on others. Whether it was getting good grades, answering questions in front of him, from Jeopardy at an age that would be at a way younger age than would be expected, or reading the biggest books and articles I could find out loud to him from the age of 4 and beyond. Karate, basketball, later when I began rapping. I was determined to pay off his self-belief or pay off his belief. For the people that do know him, they know that he had a lifelong detest of rap music. I'm proud to let everyone know that's listening to this that not only did I convert him into eventually liking and understanding hip hop, but he turned out to be one of my biggest fans. He would randomly write me that he had done a binge of my YouTube channel, and he was so impressed with my self-taught musicianship and music. I had done nothing but simply be born, and he treated me like I was Simba from The Lion King, as far as my memories go back. He was born March 7th, 1958. He was the youngest child of Robert Latta and June Wright. According to my Aunt Dawn, he was a child that always needed a little more, whether that was love, attention, or guidance. He graduated from William Munson Academy. I once looked through his yearbook and was shocked to see the number 35 on the basketball team with an enormous afro. 1, he never told me he played for the team. And 2, all that damn hair that he had, considering that most of my life I razzed him about losing his hair and told him it would never happen to me. I thought it was the coolest thing at a young age that my dad was a police officer. I can imagine that it wasn't glamorous. He had times he worked undercover, and he worked in the narcotics division and kept ungodly hours. I thank his partners for helping him return to our family safely in those early years. He wasn't just a cop. He was the cop. as humbly as I can say. He received several awards for a recognition for international drug cases that he reeled in. And I think I'll recognize the phrase "the Commonwealth versus Blake" until the end of my days. He was someone that was connected with everyone somewhere, somehow. He brought me to the Springfield Civic Center in Massachusetts countless times through back doors to watch the sport I fell in love with as a child, professional wrestling, for free by simply nodding his head at whoever was in charge of the doors. I thought that was the coolest thing. When I got older, I had many talks with him, and he was very proud of some of the cases that he brought in. And I explored my own thoughts on policing with him and was happy to say that he shared many of my feelings on the role of police, supported and understood the Black Lives Matter movement. He was a cop, but he was a black man first. He was married twice, once to my mom and once to my sister, Jasmine's mom, Yolanda. He also birthed other sons, my older brothers, Taryn and Derek, with Delania and Kim, respectively. Without dressing it up, he was a Rolling Stone. I met many of my dad's girlfriends over the years. He told me stories about every woman in his life before I got married, which I'll hold close to the vest. Special rest in peace goes out to Darlene for being the love of my dad's later life. He never quite got over losing her in 2014, much in the way he never got over his marriage to my mom, which changed all of our lives in numerous ways. His friends, Gregory, Donald, Stephen, and of course, my Uncle Sterling, became my uncles. I respected them all for being successful black men coming up in the age they did. They were men in their times, and they're men today. They had the type of friendship that I would recreate in my life with my aces, James, Josh, Jeremy, Alex, and Andre. I hung around them all together Father's Day weekend in 2016, and I felt like I was getting a glimpse into my own future. My father had a lot of personal struggles that he faced. For as much as he held his professional life together until he no longer could, he functioned for many years while battling demons that arose out of loss, depression, anxiety, and, like most people, not knowing how to deal with changing circumstances. I spent 3 days with him prior to my wedding, which functioned as the last major time I spent with him in 2020. Over those days, he was not only preparing me for my wedding by purchasing all the champagne I needed, but he dressed me, fed me, slept on my couch watching the show Girlfriends that he loved, and counseled me and hung out amongst my friends as one of the fellas, and even became my wedding photographer in a pinch. He took up photography in the last 10 or so years of his life, and he was always excited to share his photos on his Facebook page. He treated me like a grown man, but deep down, he always let me know that I was his little boy. I used to sleep on his chest, and he never let me forget it. I have a ring right now from him that was his. It's downstairs, but he purchased 2 of them for him and I. Even though it wasn't my style, I thanked him for the thought. I'm going to keep both of them now in his honor. He wasn't always around, and he missed many important moments of my life. However, he was never able to teach me how to fight. Instead, I had to learn from my friends and stepbrothers. I got upset at him not making my graduation, but I always uplifted him. I always loved the bond that we had to where time could pass and we just picked up. I had no interest in really holding him accountable because I thought that he was just making the best decisions with the circumstances that he had. I wish I could have had more of his guidance. I wish I could have spoken to him more. I last talked to him about 3 weeks before he died. And I used to do the video chats with him, and I took a lot of screenshots always just cause or whatever. And I'm glad I took those. And I can go all day, but I think I said enough. Until we meet again, rest in peace to my father, Richard Latta. I'm the second. He's the first.
That was great, man. as you mentioned, I met him, your bachelor party and the days going into your wedding. And, it was interesting meeting him for the first time and to see, finally meet him and then to see okay, I see where Rich gets some stuff from, right? It was also interesting to see that I thought it was funny how easy he could get familiar and comfortable with people. So he was fun and he was very charismatic, as you mentioned. Yeah, definitely. And I was glad I was finally able to meet him. And then I always knew that you had a complicated relationship with your dad. And it's probably the reason why me and you bonded is it's complicated as being abandoned when you're two, right? Being able to meet him and to see that and to see more where you came from, I really enjoyed that. And he was a blast to be around for the time that we had. And your bachelor party was fun. And there's stuff that I'll say that I won't say that I told you about as far as around the time you getting married and involve your dad, that was just outright outlandish. But like I said, he got comfortable quick. And I'll always remember that. In rest in peace to Richard Latta I.
Love you, Dad.
I guess we'll take a break or whatever else on the podcast, and we'll start. We'll start back up again. I don't know if you want to play something or whatever else, but I'll press pause on the recording and everything, and we'll come back.
Give me a second. I'm gonna go get some water real quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans. That's all it counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
And we're back. We are going to talk about 11 years of One Nation Radio. Obviously, because of Rich's dad passing, it was technically 2 weeks ago, but who gives a shit? We'll treat it like a wrestling promotion. We run it whenever we run it. It doesn't have to be the exact day. So, yeah, man. Last year we did a big thing about it. We had people send in their listener submissions as far as people that have been listening from the very beginning to recently to somewhere in between. And it was very touching to see people went out of their way in their busy days and busy lives to hit us up and send, and do the whole thing. And they may have botched something or whatever else, may have to re-record or whatever else, because you know how the recording game goes when you pre-tape something instead of just running it live. So appreciate everybody that turned this stuff last year. We didn't do it this year. I think we saved it for the big round number. But yeah, man, still feel the love, still feel happy to build this thing every single year more and more. I think in the last year and change, about 2 years when we went to streaming, whatever else, I feel like we've grown. And I feel like you in particular, all this stuff is more of your hard work and your doing of putting up the stream. You're the one that runs the social media accounts. I just more or less, I edit the show and throw it up. But most of it is me and Rich talk a little bit. Rich is the one that comes up with the game plan for what we're going to talk about that particular week. Most of this shit is Rich's creation. So, just a shout out to Rich and, appreciate everything he does. And it was funny how we started this, because it was always like, you know, we more or less used to talk all the like every other day for like hours. Like, we were more or less prepping ourselves to the shows that became One Nation Radio. So, you know, as our lives have grown on or whatever else into different stuff, like you now live in Georgia, you're a whole state away. What was I going to say? Like, there was a joke. Oh, I saw Jeezy was performing, I think after scores at Falcons games. I was like, is Rich going to stir up the Falcons games now to see the local acts, to see if T.I.'s going to show up and start performing at games, if Ludacris is going to start performing at games. But, yeah, man,
maybe.
Like, it's cool to come every Monday, to the show and know that, like, I get to talk to my dog, you know, for however many hours or whatever else. And like, this is the kind of way we keep in touch and whatever. We're messaging up throughout the day about whatever nonsense is going on social media or throughout the world of music or sports or whatever, or real life. But, like, this is like a one of my more fun pastimes I've ever had, as a routine. Like this, like, I gotta say, like, once you get out watching football and like you're watching like how long it takes for games to, like, for plays between plays or whatever. So you're looking down at your phone, look back up, look down, and it's like, oh, halftime for college football's 20 minutes long. Like, you get to appreciate, like, this particular pastime. Talking to my friend is more for me stimulating than like watching a football game that I'm not necessarily emotionally invested in now. So, like, at this stage in the game. So, yeah, like, Mondays, I'm always looking forward to Mondays.
Hell yeah, man. I appreciate the kind words on all that, but I definitely could not do this show solo without James. I've done it solo, and
we've both done it.
and I'm saying it wouldn't be impossible to do, right? But it wouldn't be nearly as fun. It wouldn't be as challenging when you're just talking to yourself and there's no one here to be like, hey man, what you mean by that? Or like, you know, or like just you know, make some jokes about it or anything like that. When we started One Nation Radio, it was the definition of humble beginnings. Podcasting was essentially the Wild West still. This is 2012. Not everyone had podcasts. The only people that had podcasts were like Chris Jericho, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Bill Simmons, like, and much, like some other people. But it is, you know, from the beginning, I was like, yo, we can say something. Like, there's something that I think we have that would be entertaining, funny, thoughtful, and it would be fun to do. We talked last year about, you know, just kind of, it felt like such a big milestone. It was like 10 years. I can't believe we did 10 years. And now that we're on the other side of that, it's like, yo, how long does this thing go on? I'm like, shit, forever. Like I don't see no reason to just stop doing One Nation Radio or anything. Like, it's you know, like, it's a lot of skin in the game, and it is realizing like there's still like so much to do, like, because we like have, you know, we're our own platform, so like we're not as fortunate right now to have, like, you know, a built-in huge site. Like, we're like this is an independent rap label. This is Master P. This is freaking Cash Money, like, before the fucking Universal deal. This is like Rockefeller on Priority. Like, this is like y'all hearing the real. Like, we don't have to cut shit aside from, like, you know, some stuff. I may have relationships with people in wrestling that I'm protecting or something like that. But as far as, like, you're always going to hear kind of what we think. Yeah, No Limit Records, like, this. Yeah, that's what this is. This is indie. This is from the muck. But, you know, and the production has grown over time. Like, we've become, like, we were experimenting with the live format back on Facebook. Years ago, and it wasn't like all the way fully developed or anything like that. But
do we ever talk about how nigger rigged this stuff was at the beginning?
Bro, I didn't know how to get the audio from James to like play, like whoever had the microphone, right? Like, I think James was able to figure it out because he had a PC longer than I did. I was dealing with a Mac, and the Mac didn't have like all the like as far as like just the easiness of like desktop audio recording, which those of you guys that have done podcasts, you guys know what I'm talking about. So I would be playing James's audio out the microphone speaker. It would be coming over the speaker while my mic is like face. I'm going to show you guys the mic that I had. And it's a mic that's pretty famous that everyone fucking had, right? But this is how we had to do it. Give me 1 second.
All right, I'll feel. Yeah, man, it was pretty wild stuff we were doing. Like he'll show you as an example, but like, man, there's no way we could have done video at the time. But like, if we had done video, it would have been really embarrassing to see like the stuff that we were pulling. So go ahead, Richard, because it was a height of low tech. Like it was beyond like the whole like record your track like in the shower. It was beyond that.
Right.
So go ahead.
So for those of you that are on the audio, you guys are going to have to log in and see what I'm talking about, like on YouTube. This is a Blue Yeti microphone, right?
Rich, because they can never see my mic, right? I'm still using a fucking Blue Yeti microphone.
But that's fine. That's fine for one person. Right?
Right.
So like, but what I was doing was saying, yo, I have no way to record both sides right now, right? So what I had to do was set the option.
Turn into a bidirectional mic.
They have these little settings right here that you guys can see. I would have to put it on the 0, right?
Yeah.
So what that would do,
Omni
would have this side of the mic and that side of the mic. So I would pull up the speaker on this side of the mic. I had to hope the speaker wasn't causing feedback.
Right.
Had to hope the internet connection like would not like fuck us up to where there was a delay. Man, this stuff, we were in the mud, literally, just fighting through it. Don't care. You still getting the audio. Like, like we didn't give a fuck, man. And that's like the spirit of this show. Like, we don't give a fuck. We are going to find a way, like, to deliver the passion, the takes, all that shit. And it's like, yeah, man, it's been really cool to further develop more reliable ways of doing our shows, of when, you know, I started realizing, oh shit, I've got this interface, and I've bought so many different appliances that I figured out how to eventually get James's audio on both sides on my Mac. I eventually figured it out, and I was like, man, I'm gonna just do some more research. I think video would be pretty cool. Like, how am I gonna figure it out? And then once I got the PC, which James' brother helped build for me, it was like, oh, I think it would be cool to stream. How do I do this? Put a lot of research into that, and was just like, you know, hope James is on board, and he was. So it was just like, I think it was like, you know, a really cool, you know, like the evolution is real. You know, people talk about evolution with Triple H and all that. Nah, man, this started like, it was rough. Go back and listen to some of them old episodes that are those old ones. They are on the One Nation, or excuse me, the Social Suplex feed all the way at the beginning. And we were playing people's music during the shows.
Yeah.
It was a lot. Like, we were just trying to figure it out, doing the best we could. And fortunately, you know, we grew into be, I'd say we're decent. So, you know, like someone in the chat called us the Jesus and Mero of wrestling podcasting. That's hilarious for a bunch of different reasons, but
yeah, dark skin, light skin, yeah.
But
the
man.
ECW days of ONR, yeah, it was very grimy.
Yes,
yeah.
no respect. Like, it was you know, and then like the whole thing with linking up with Jeremy was really cool.
Yeah,
and just. I was talking to him probably about 2 or 3 days ago, and, you know, I just kind of, you know, like, he had called on me just to, you know, check on me and all that. And I was like, yeah, man, like, how fucking crazy is it that we were just on Twitter shooting the shit, talking about Monday Night Raw, and now we've been friends for like a decade, and you know, we got this podcast network together, and you live 20 minutes from me, so like we were able to meet in person and kick it, and it was just like I sent some good tweets and somebody found them funny, and then you get like a damn near lifelong friend, like and then like, you know, he has the same like kind of independent spirit like that you do, that like, yo, fuck everybody else, we can do this ourselves, like, and you know, I thought that was really cool. And then, you know, Jeremy and Josh started Keeping It Strong Style with it, and then we just like built the network on it. I'm like, yo, why don't we gotta keep the momentum, we gotta keep like doing our thing. And 11 years later, like every time football season starts, I'm like, wow, another year behind the microphone for One Nation Radio. And it's like like I've always done all the theme music and everything, and it's been really cool to do that.
Now you're making everybody's theme music.
Man, I did a song for a guy today. He sent, I'm getting merch sent to me to shoot a video with. So this thing is about to, like, you know, hopefully do some things. But I think that I would love to eventually do like some type of live events or something, like, and the cool thing is we kind of did one.
We've done it before.
We went to New York, and during WrestleMania 35 weekend, we were at the Hooters across from Madison Square Garden. We got invited to do a live podcast. We got all our food comped. We had dozens of wrestlers show up there, including Will Ospreay, Jay White, B. Priestley.
Was Tony
there?
There
were more. I think she was. All the Australians were there, but I don't know if she was. You know, I didn't know what she looked like then, so
okay,
I don't know.
Okay,
but
that was your first. That was your first week I'd ever seen her wrestle. Yeah.
So, you know, there were tons of. I think what's his name? He's canceled now, but Jimmy Havoc was there. There was a.
So that means Jamie was there, because at the time they were. Yeah.
And it was like you know, all the cool stuff we got to cover over this time. Like we covered essentially like the end of CM Punk in WWE.
And now we're covering the end of CM Punk in
AEW. Yes. Amazing.
Think of that
Full circle. No Swiss beats. Full circle. We got to see like the end of John Cena as a tippy top person. We got to see the rise of the Shield. We got to see the Bullet Club, the New Japan, Okada, Tanahashi. We got to see the Elite form, and then AEW, and Chris Jericho is like entire, like, you know, just post 40-year-old run, which he's just like been incredible. Just so many, you know, we got into Joshi, you know, we got into lots of different stuff. Like I got into a lot of classic wrestling, like, you know, like Puro, like All Japan stuff. I got to learn a lot and become what I feel is a more well-rounded, you know, fan. And it's been so cool to share that journey with James. And, you know, like I think James is like just like when we started doing the Joshi thing and paying attention to it, like I always encourage James. I'm like, yo, you got to talk about this. You guys got to go ahead. Like James, you got to like just keep putting your voice out on this. Like, we're going to talk about this shit every week on the show or whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, we're going to find a way. And luckily we had Sierra to kind of like hold our hands on a couple things like that. But I was like, nah, man, like James can be the specialist on this. Like this is something he's good at. This is something that he likes, he's passionate about. And now, like look at it. Oh, the rise and fall of NXT. Yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah.
And you know, I think James is one of the best voices in the space on Joshi. And it's like, you know, and I'm one of the top 75. So like,
you are one of the top 75 Western historians on Joshi wrestling at this point. Yeah, you absolutely are.
So, but yeah, like this thing is a journey. It's you know, you look at it and it's like, yeah, man, we've got tons of shows. We have tons of inside jokes, all the bits really come from our friendship. I always say the show's almost not about wrestling. It's about us. And hopefully you guys can get that. Like, hopefully that is apparent when you listen to it. We enjoy the community. We enjoy, the Discord, and everyone that jumps in that thing because we do a lot of talking in there. I actually opened up a new channel in there so everybody can talk about stuff that isn't wrestling if they want, just how they feel about life. So
much to Joshua Smith's chagrin.
Yeah. So, if you haven't jumped into Discord, that's a cool way to kind of interact with us. And I just at the end of the day, like I'm happy to do this show with one of my best friends, and like this is amazing. Like that we get to turn our mics on, click a button, and then we're talking to the world, or we have the opportunity to reach the world. And even if it's something as like professional wrestling, like which we all love. And I don't think is like, yeah, man, we get to talk about this stupid thing. No, it's not a stupid thing. And you know why it's not a stupid thing? Because it like introduced us to a lot of cool people and friends and took us like around the world. James went to the fucking Dome this year. Like, that's not stupid at all. Like,
I felt stupid after Tam got her ass dropped in 6 minutes. What the fuck is this? Why are y'all on y'all promo stuff building this and this is going on like fourth from the top? It comes on like second or third match. It gets done in 5 minutes and 45 seconds. She's the fucking top chef now.
Nihon James. Yes.
Oh my God.
But yeah, man, that's, 11 years.
Oh,
we
wow.
sacrificed.
Oh, not Mary. Oh, man. Oh, man.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, One Nation Radio, it's on, and it's been on. It's going to stay on. And like, compare us to who you want or whatever. Like, we'll take all the comparisons. We'll take, all the smoke. We'll take whatever. We'll be here doing our thing, whether 2 people are listening or 200, 2,000, whatever. Like it's, 2 million. Like, so we'll be here.
Yeah, Brewhaven said, O&R forever.
That's great.
Yeah.
That is great. But it would not be One Nation Radio if we didn't talk about some conspiracies.
Here we go.
And some, just interesting things about the world that are going on right now. So on the same day, it was announced that Usher was headlining the Super Bowl next year.
No, hold on. No. Let's talk about Usher first, and then we'll get to don't do that, because like that. Don't do that. Let's get to the funny after this.
Okay.
So we'll save the conspiracy for a few minutes from now. We'll definitely get to it. But yeah, so it was announced over the weekend that Usher will be performing the halftime show of this upcoming Super Bowl. For me, this is somebody that has been long overdue. Like, he sold more records than anybody in the decade of the 2000s. What else is there to discuss, right? So a lot of people, let me say, especially his most loyal fans, have been wanting this for a long time. Obviously, the man is incredibly talented. He's been doing the Vegas residency the last year and change, maybe 2 years. They had his own promotional campaign with the Ush Bucks when he's making it rain fake money with his face on it at strip clubs, robbing the women blind. So yeah. Also, there was some there was some buzz around his residency shows because he was basically had people in particular seats, like a VIP section where when he sings "There Goes My Baby," he serenades the women. And then, the internet does what the internet does, which is you paid all this money to bring your woman to the show so that Usher can basically sit on her lap and sing or sing a waterfall out of her. I'm gonna move on from there. And it caused a lot of stuff. And then you saw NBA players bring their girls, and their girls start basically jump away from him and jump on, just basically doing all types of showy shit. and it's like, whatever. So this news coming out, for me, I felt was long overdue, like a lot of people. For me personally, like, there are 3 people worth talking about, like, in my lifetime, or let's say post Michael Jackson and Prince, as far as like black male singers, to talk about, that are like, you have to talk about these 3 particular people. You have to talk about, well, only one of them you could be like, you have to talk about them and feel good about it. The other 2, because they're assholes or sex passes, whatever. So you have Robert Kelly, you have Usher Raymond, and you have Christopher Brown. Obviously, R. Kelly and Chris Brown have gigantic issues, regardless of how good their music is. So let's just move them to the side. So basically, because them 2 have disqualified themselves in the realm of what do you call it? Decency. We have Usher. And, yeah, man, a lot of people have talked about, Guns N' Roses as, like, Guns N' Roses is a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame musical act off the strength of one album and one album only. If you liked, Chinese Democracy or Use Your Illusions, cool. They're in here because of Appetite for Destruction, right? Usher had tons of hits, like I mentioned, sold more records than anybody in the decade of the 2000s. Confessions is one of them thrillers, one of them, renaissances, one of those lemonades, one of those transformational albums. So it took him from gigantic star to, oh, he's the biggest star in the world right now. I wasn't honestly expecting that, but like, once you reel off that whole A side, you're like, okay, there's no debate now. There's no debate. So yeah, man, really happy for him. And, Rich, if you want to say whatever you feel about Usher, go ahead. But I have some questions about like what Usher's going to play, and I'll pose, because you've heard me talk about this for a couple of years now, as far as the prospect of him having a Super Bowl halftime show. But like, I have some questions on what he's going to play, for everybody at the halftime show, because not everybody will be happy with whatever he plays. It don't matter what he plays. Not everybody will be happy.
That's true. The Usher that I'm a big fan of is the first album Usher through the 702 album, I think.
So 98 My Way, and then the 8701. Yeah.
Yep. I kind of got off the bus at Confessions. Ironically, because like I hated when it was out. They played it to death.
They definitely did.
It was it was just too much. I just thought it was like just too much, and the whole thing just. I was a Usher hater at the time of Confession, so yes, I probably wore the L on that. And I was like, the Usher I loved, like, the stuff he was doing, like with the Neptunes, and like the
that,
you don't
especially
have to call.
8701.
Yeah, you don't have to call.
Yeah.
The I don't know.
Yep.
Of course, Nice and Slow. Like, that was my crank. Like, I played that shit like Radio Raheem. I had the cassette tape in 1999. I ran that shit to death. Like, or 98, whatever the fuck the year was.
98 is when the album came out. I think because it was a later single, the video may have came out in 99. Okay, like, just for people's references, how old are you at this time? Like 9, 10?
I was like 9 or 10 years old.
9 or 10 playing Nice and Slow on repeat. That's a sick man. That's a sick young child.
On repeat, just like thinking I could sing. Like, yeah, let's go. They call me USHERRAYMOND. Baby, tell me what you want to do with me. Got a nigga feeling like Joe to see. My nigga was ripping that shit, dog. Like,
also that remix to Nice and Slow with Twista is like one of the most underrated remixes ever, in my opinion. Like that's a killer. Like, Twista killed that shit. Yeah, yeah.
Like his first song, "You Maybe Want to Leave the One I'm With," like that shit was dope. I like a lot of his early stuff. And then
moving nasty from day one.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like I said, the whole thing with Confessions and all that, I just guess I didn't relate, and then like I was just tired of the everything with Lil Jon. At that point, I was like done. I was like, all right, I'm good. And eventually, it becomes just an American classic, and it's like, oh, okay, whatever. I just learned to live with it and whatever. But he moves on from there, and I start liking Usher again. Like, like after all that. So,
which is interesting because like after Confessions, he did a dumb thing as a young black male sex symbol. He fucked around and got married to an older woman, and they did not like that, not one bit. Like, for all the talk that so it's always funny to me, right? Because, you know, we cover the Joshi stuff, and you hear them talk about how, like, a lot of them, or at least for a long time, like, they would keep whatever relationships they were having on the tuck because it might hurt their sales or whatever else, sell merchandise. So people be like, oh, this person is quote unquote unavailable. So it ruins the fantasy that you actually had a chance with this person to begin with, right? Usher, and like a lot of people are like, yeah, that's ridiculous, whatever else. And I'm like, I gotta tell you, like, I've seen it in real life. You know, when, the Here I Stand album came out in 2007, I want to say. It had, you know, Love in His Club and the remix with Wayne and Beyonce, and that album Moving Mountains, and, you know, The Dream and Clutch and, Tricky and all that stuff, all the production stuff. It was obviously a step down. It was like, he's not Michael Jackson. He's not going to follow up Thriller with Bad, right? He's not. But it was a good album. But the way people reacted to it was like, and it was a weird time where it's like, you know, at that time we're making music. We're aspiring, you know, we're aspiring music label, and like, we're pushing R&B, and like, all of a sudden, like, the genre starts creating upon itself as like, it's one of the first things to create her as the, industry, like, kind of like, collapses and shrinks every single year after that. So
with the internet, and then the production style changes, and
everything being cheaper, and it's like, well, for good R&B, you need like live. It will be for the best for live instrumentation, and like, well, that's now at a cost of of budgets and people's advances and all that kind of stuff. So it's like you get less and less and less of that stuff. So you get that, and then you get the Raymond versus Raymond album, and like the Raymond versus Raymond album is kind of like effectively the end of his peak. Cause, you know, it has great songs on it. You know, it has the Hey Daddy song that, you know, which,
hey, they was putting Plies on Usher songs. I'll never let it go. Plies,
when
baby.
They had Plies on there, and I was like, I can't believe he has Plies on his first single to his new album. Like, this dude, does he not remember does he not remember that he's Usher Raymond? And then, like, when the radio stuff came out, or the video came out, and like Plies was in there, I was like, okay, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. Like, this is the radio single, whatever it has, you know, with the street rap or whatever else. And then like, I'm leaving that off for, you know, when it's money time. Okay, fine. But like, you know, at that point in time, like, he's looking around and he's older, and he sees success, and like, he obviously sees success, like, you know, a person he sees as like his young bull, like Chris Brown, like, kind of reinventing his career, resuscitating his career after he fucked it up because he's a woman beater, like doing the, you know, the EDM slant. And at that point in time, EDM has a huge craze in, you know, getting into the beginning of the 2010s. So he, you know, he does the OMG song with will.i.am, and, you know, fresh off all the stuff he did with Black Eyed Peas and everything. And it's a gigantic hit. But his most loyal fan base hated that shit. He was like, you're supposed to be making songs for us, not them. And when he made that song for them, it was like, it was really weird. And then, you know, the double, or the, like, the, what do you call it? The reissue album, or the verse, I think it's called Verses. I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, it's called
Papers.
Verses. They had additional stuff with, like, you know, Jesus Gotta Fall in Love with Pitbull, more of the EDM stuff. Then he double downs again with, the Looking for Myself album, and like, I like the album. That shit has hits on it. That no one pretends like people pretend like it never happened. They just move on. They treat it like his career ended at basically Raymond versus Raymond, and that's kind of it. And then like we talk about, like, you know, the Justin Bieber stuff where he put on Justin Bieber, and like that's kind of his legacy. We move on. We treat him like what do you call it? Like, he's an historical act or whatever else. He's a legacy act. His base became a legacy act from like the 2010s on. And to see him finally get his due when it's like he should have had a Super Bowl halftime show in 2004 or 5. Right? Like, you're putting Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson and Britney Spears out there or whatever else, and then you're going to get the fucking Who or whatever else. No, that guy. So, I'm glad it's been long overdue, and I'm glad he's here now. So, Rich, is it now time for me to now get to the shits?
I think I know where you're going. Go ahead, sir.
All right. So, as I mentioned, I love Usher. I just spent like 15 minutes gushing about how much if I'm just gonna keep going but if this was Mason Cameron, they'd be like gushing. Whoa, hey yo,
hey, yo,
what's this?
Crazy.
They're immature asses. Anyway, grow the fuck up. So, yeah, man, like very similar to a lot of other people that like have the hits to do it, but you think of the subject matter of these songs, and you wonder what is he going to play, because you look at what the majority of his biggest hits were these emotional relationship songs about heartbreak, or about wanting somebody, or being in these weird situations, or about flat out sex. And it's like, it's still the NFL. How's it going to go? So you look through his biggest hits, right? You look at, stuff like Nice and Slow, as you mentioned. I think that was number one, right? Yeah, something that is definitely going to be unplayed. Like, our homeboy Kendrick mentioned that, like, he hated that song, and it was kind of similar to the Andre 3000 thing, where it's like, I made Hey Yeah, and I never want to play Hey Yeah, and I'm like, hey, you don't like that song? Okay, cool. Give the money back. Oh, you don't want to get the money back? I guess you should go up there and play the people that song they paid to come see you play. What are you talking about? So, anyway, you gonna go up there and look, I said to Kendrick, like, you gonna go up there, you gonna sing and dance that Yeah Boy. and that's the end of the
dummy.
discussion. Yes, take your ass out there. You've been a piece up, A-Town down all night. Anyway, and when Ludacris come out there and talking about take that, rewind it back, and all that, you better clap, god damn it.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
Did you mention You Don't Have to Call already?
You don't have to call the song where it's like, that's on the borderline, because you can dance to it, of course, right? A song like Caught Up, you can dance to it, so like he can get away with it. But when it's like you remind me of a girl, or it's You Got It Bad, or Burn.
Classic. You Got It Bad. Classic.
Or yeah, these are all classics, but it's like, it's not necessarily appropriate for the venue, right? Or for the stage.
This gonna be nasty. Like,
it's a similar conundrum to why like Adele got offered the Super Bowl halftime show, and she like almost immediately rejected it a couple years ago. She's like, "What the fuck am I gonna do? Sing someone like you at that Super Bowl halftime show? You want me to sing Turning Table at the Super Bowl halftime show? All I got is like Rolling in the Deep." So yeah, like he is gonna be interesting what he plays, and the thing for me is like as go ahead.
Nice and Slow. I don't give a fuck. That shit needs to be on there.
So
let them come into our world.
So it was interesting to me because I mentioned, the like at the end, as basically people moved on from him, and like moved past his what his prime was, and basically determined like, nah, this was your prime, we're done with you. Like I always thought that like, look, man, these people that were his core fan base, and he started making more music to continue making the money come in and keep making, being on the top of the charts. As R&B as a genre has died, unless it's white people doing it, they basically hated all that shit he made. So like the people that have like been on the front lines, if you will, banging the drum for him to have a Super Bowl halftime show, like the stuff that you want him to play ain't stuff really conducive to him putting on the best show when it comes to the singing and the dancing and all the stuff that he can do on stage. So the stuff he's gonna have to play to subsidize some of that stuff, because his catalog being so heavy into the relationship stuff, is the stuff you hate. So it's gonna be a real like two Americas of Usher stuff when it comes to like, because like he can play on OMG, and when he plays OMG, I love that song, so I'm gonna enjoy it. But a lot of them gonna sit there and be like, this ain't for us, and I'll be like, hey man, y'all gotta stop this shit of this ain't for us, or this ain't for whoever, because I can tell you this, Usher black ass made it, so what the fuck are we talking about? So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Always like that song.
Regardless of whatever he plays, whatever set list he plays for people that don't know him from just the radio, people that were his day one or year one fans, people that picked up after Confessions or whatever else. There is nothing he could play to where he's going to satisfy everybody. The best he can do is basically play like one or two for all these people. But it's going to be interesting to see because no one's going to be exactly 100% happy.
So it's the good old Adrian Balboa conundrum. You can't win.
He can't. There's nothing he can do to win this one. Nothing. Everybody's going to feel like he left someone on the table based off their personal taste of what Usher's catalog or what they like in his catalog. Unless you're someone like me that likes most of it anyway.
Man, man.
Because if it was up to me, I'd be like, hey, like you mentioned that nice slow, look, go out there and play my way. I don't give a fuck.
Hey, yeah, same. My way is dope
like,
too.
Just cut before he says little midget. Just before you go to the rap breakdown in the second verse. Just cut that. Just cut that.
All the rap breakdowns gotta go. You know?
Just cut that. Cut that.
You think he's gonna do papers?
Didn't Zaytoven make that?
Yes.
Yeah, man, that was wild.
So, who are the Usher features? Like who do you think he needs to bring out? Like, because you got to bring out Lil Jon and Ludacris, right?
He should bring out Lil Jon and Ludacris for the same reason that, like, so Katy Perry, when she did the 2014 Super Bowl, or 15, whichever year it was, she had brought out Missy Elliott, right? And it was like, you know, when you're a star like that, you got to make all these ensemble changes. You got to go from different sets, you know, because Super Bowl halftime show, you almost use the whole damn field. So it's like, you got to go from here to here, whatever else, unless you're one person who's like, I'm just going to be like a Beyonce, or I'm going to be like the Weeknd. I'm just going to do this whole visual effects thing to like cover for it. But like, if you're going to make like the kind of wardrobe change that you traditionally expect a single person show to be, like you play, so you get Lil Jon DJing, and you also get Ludacris rapping. Ludacris can then play another song, like whether it's Roll Out or, you know, Southern Hospitality. I don't know where Super Bowl is this year. Like whatever he wants to play.
Vegas.
It's okay, Southern Hospitality, it don't work for that. But if it was, you know, if it was like, you know, somewhere else. But whatever. Like, regardless, like a place like that.
He could play Runaway Love.
He played Runaway Love at the Super Bowl. I would be, wow. Wow. Anyway, so it allows Usher to then move on to do something else and change wardrobe, whatever. So, you know, he wants to change wardrobes. Like, remember that Super Bowl, or like the All-Star game he did when he was out there playing that More song or whatever else. That man was out there and, what was it? Fabulous had clowned him and said that man dressed like he finna battle on the gladiatorial Roman Coliseum and shit. Like, yeah, man, he's gonna have a whole bunch of ideas. So, and also, you know, he's a Toys R Us kid. Like, he's 43 and he's still out, or 43, 44 at this stage, and he's still out here dressing like he's 22. Like, he's really like he's one of them young Atlanta niggas. So, like, he's gonna.
I just want some Ush Bucks to appear. Like, you got to make it rain Ush Bucks. Have the Ush Bucks falling from the ceiling of the venue. If we can get Lil Jon one song, can we get Who You With? Just you know. Look, there's limited words in it. You know, they don't really have to work on beeping nothing. You know,
I don't think they're gonna play that one. I don't think they're gonna play that one. I don't think they're gonna go deep into the Lil Jon. What is that? Is that Put Your Hood Up? I don't think they're going to like the 2001 Lil Jon East Side Boys catalog. I just don't think they're gonna dig that deep.
That's what I'm trying to. You know, that's what I'm trying to see. You know, man. I don't really think Usher and Jay-Z have too many notable songs together.
They got what? They got Hot Toddy that Polo produced. They did another song besides that was on. Well, they did something on Kingdom Come.
Yeah, and it was not good.
Right. It's one of those things where like it just didn't work. They tried it. It was almost like Jay-Z was like, all right, you know, the whole situation with R. Kelly, you know, where you got maced or whatever else. So like, all right, I'm going to ride with the new king. It didn't quite work the same way. Also, Go Back in Time. I think Jay-Z wants that Guilty to Prove It Innocent song off his catalog when it's featuring R. Kelly. And that man says, Jigga Kelly not guilty. What do you mean, Jigga and Kelly? What did Jigga do along with Kelly?
Bro, I was in Springfield, Mass over the weekend, right? And I was out in the club. the Northeast DJs are suffering. For one, I'll get into that more maybe in the post show, but man, it's bad up there. Them DJs, they need to be thrown in jail.
Is it like rounded up? Is it like the North never lost? Is that how they're acting? Okay, like interesting.
Look, when I'm hearing Fabulous Can't Let You Go at 1 a.m. prime time, brother, we're like, what we doing?
They ain't gonna play. They ain't gonna play like. They're not gonna play none of the drill stuff.
They played some of it, but man, this guy that was going, it was every time he gets something rolling, he mess it up. But I even forgot my point now. But they I don't know, man. It's as far as what Usher plays, I think it's going to be one of the great I feel like this. If someone's kept track of this, right? Mm-hmm. We've got like a 4 or 5 month Twitter conversation on our hands right here. People can submit their own Usher Super Bowl playlist. Usher, you know what Usher should do? He should hold a vote. Hold a fan vote. He should be running polls, straw polls. He should be putting out Twitter polls. He should be having song elimination tournaments. Be like, this is, whatever, but you don't know what order he's going to play it in. Mm-hmm. And collect all the data and see what's out there and be like, hey man, I just listed the analytics. It wasn't me.
It's gonna be interesting. Because it's like for example, Beyonce, right? Beyonce at the Renaissance tour, like she'll play 1+1, right? 1+1 is a love ballad with like almost like a Prince like guitar solo at the end of it, right? And she blows like crazy at the end, right? And the whole thing is like, it's like the end of the world and like it's me and you together and like just make love to me, right? That's like that's a staple Beyonce song for black women, right? Some of our queer white brothers and sisters, they go to the Beyonce album and they like, why are you playing a B-side? And they be getting attacked on Twitter because they should shut the fuck up. So like all of that is like that's gonna be a Super Bowl halftime show. And keep in mind, when Beyonce shows up, she don't play that at the Super Bowl halftime show. She plays Formation at the Super Bowl halftime show because she got that in her bag. Usher don't have that much stuff like that in his bag. So that's the thing. I always think it's interesting is like Usher absolutely deserves it. I wonder what he's going to play and how people are going to be disappointed with whatever he plays. It's going to be so interesting. He can't win. He really can't win.
On the same day that Usher was named as a Super Bowl halftime performer, I don't even know where to begin with this story, James.
Bro, I still can't believe this shit's real. I'm still trying to figure out if it actually is in fact real.
Chris Brown has been hit with a $2 million lawsuit over an unpaid Popeyes chicken roll loan.
No, you should have said, wait, until a $2 million unpaid loan to Popeyes chicken. You're like, wait, what?
Bro, what the fuck? Well, first of all, why the fuck does he owe $2 million to Popeyes?
That's what the fuck I'm trying to figure out.
What are you doing?
First off, another thing, why the fuck did Popeyes chicken give him the $2 million? What the fuck's going on? Yo. This used to be a Rihanna meme that used to go around, and I'm just gonna repeat it. This is the ghettoest shit I've ever seen in my life. I have never said the word ghetto in 11 years on this show. I'm saying it here. This is the ghettoest shit I've ever heard in my life. The R&B singer, the black R&B singer, one of the 3 most important black R&B singers of our life, or black singers of our lifetime, right? He's on the hook to get sued for taking $2 million on loans from a chicken joint. What? This is embarrassing. This is a stereotype. This is a stereotype in real life.
Does Rock Nation have something to do with this? This Rock Nation decided, hey, on the same day we announced Usher, we gonna stick it to Chris Brown a little bit on the other side, a permanent enemy, after that man tried to fuck that Rihanna bag up, a permanent enemy.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
Okay.
It's just goofy, man. It's goofy. Like
$2 million for the chicken sandwiches. I love Popeyes too, but $2 million? No. Okay. Seriously though.
My question is this, right? Like, is it a situation where like the same people that own, like the company that quote unquote owns, or not quote unquote, that owns like Popeye's chicken, they own a bunch of other stuff, and like one of the other places is a place that gave Chris Brown the loan, so now they're making a joke out of it. Like, this shit says literally Popeye's chicken. That don't even make sense to me. What is going on?
Apparently Chris Brown is not alone in this. There's someone else that is on this.
Who?
So
it's someone we know, don't we? Who the fuck is it?
I'm going to read it off.
God damn it.
According to the legal documents obtained by the Blast, City National Bank is suing Brown for $2 million, alleged it loaned him money to acquire a pair of Popeyes locations.
Okay.
The lawsuit claims the loan, which was given to several people, including Brown and The Dream, remains unpaid. As of February 17, 2023, the borrower and guarantors owe $2,140,901.74 in unpaid principal and interest. Technically, the lawsuit is in the state of Georgia, but the bank filed a case in L.A. as Brown currently lives there. It's unclear if they are suing The Dream over his alleged share of the loan. The lawsuit names Brown as a personal guarantor, which means he's on the hook for the unpaid portion of the loan. They have been trying to get their money back from Chris Brown since 2018, and has already won a default judgment against him in Georgia. As a result, the new motion filed has been filed in LA, and the bank claims he owes $1.3 million.
Okay.
I guess he will be dropping several other 45-song albums.
He said he's gonna stop doing that this year. I know that's the joke, because that's the last the two albums of from like the last like 3 years were like that. Like, his most recent album isn't like that, but whatever. Like, I haven't listened to his most recent album, which is weird.
This is absolutely outrageous.
I'm listening to Chris Brown's music. I'm not a fan of Chris Brown. I love his music. He's a terrible person. He's one of those people where it's like, you know, when it comes to anyone problematic, it's like, is their music like good enough for you to still listen to them regardless of the terrible person they are? Chris Brown clears that bar for me personally. I don't feel great about it. At every point, I'm just like, he's a terrible person. Like, it's interesting that people are talking about like Usher's like the last iconic like musical artist or entertainer that we have that can do a Super Bowl halftime show, and people are like, what about Chris Brown? I'm like, under no circumstances can Chris Brown be on the Super Bowl halftime stage. They can't go through that after the PR disaster that was Ray Rice and the Rihanna stuff. He cannot be, the optics are awful. He cannot be a Super Bowl halftime performer ever.
Do you know the think pieces that would exist here? Oh my God.
Yeah. It'd be bad for everybody.
They would earn every one of them.
Right. Yeah. So
like Roger Goodell. So how do you, so apparently the NFL loves domestic violence.
Again,
yeah, like, you know, it really would line up with the ideals of the league, like on the low. So maybe they should consider this, James. But yeah, man, I just thought it was funny. $2 million chicken, Chris Brown. This headline is ridiculous. But yeah, and ask questions about Rock Nation. Ask questions.
They moving that nasty, huh?
Speaking of moving nasty, WWE will be moving its shit from the channel of Fox to the USA Network. They're getting a 40% raise of, I believe, a $1.4 billion deal to take SmackDown back to USA. The USA has watched its dope get sold on another block and rebought the dope. But they were saying they are not going to, like, these rights are getting so big for each of these shows. This is no guarantee that Raw and NXT will remain on USA. Mm-hmm. I think before that, we should talk about, what do you mean rumor, Brewhaven? I've been dropping that gem for like a year and a half.
Yeah, he has.
Now, One Nation Radio always ahead. But
people been speculating because of the whole, Stephanie not wearing a ring, especially at the time when she got sent away from, or she got let go or whatever else. So yeah, there was a lot of talk to that since then.
Yep.
Speculation, not talk. Yeah.
But I kind of want to talk about Fox and WWE. WWE and Fox, they started this relationship in 2019. I think people thought it would transform WWE into just this huge entity, like this boom period. And in some aspects, like it has, right?
I mean,
like,
from live attendance, it definitely has.
Yeah, from live attendance, and it's almost like that. But like, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, some of the stuff that we kind of would say from time to time, and this goes in conjunction with the AEW TV deal stuff. Like, I always felt like, man, Fox ain't paying all this money for only this in the ratings.
Right.
And
it was apparent when the week 2 ratings came in, they were like, oh, they went from 4 point something million or 4 point something to like 1 point something or 2 point something. Like, it dropped off a cliff after week 1.
Yeah. And it was like, I don't know. I think that the platform has not been used to the best of its ability. They have they have their own ceiling that I think they swindled Fox a little bit through this whole thing. And then Fox finally kind of woke up and was like, hey man, like all you have to do is like look down the dial. Like at different points, AEW was rising and falling. And then it was like, what is the point of like paying $1 billion for, this show that if you stick it on FS1, it goes off a fucking cliff. If you just look at the ratings, it's like it just wasn't like ever this thing that it should have been, like as far as like, yo, this is the biggest platform possible for WWE. And
I would say they
never caught on like that.
And I would say they fell with it up until like this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like this year is the first year they actually like did well, considering like the landscape of TV and like the amount of homes that have gone down year over year over year, and like what number they're actually doing, and the demos actually like changing and flipping, towards and skewing younger. Like this was the first year Fox actually got return on their investment after it's been a sunk cost for the first 3 years. So it's like them not wanting to re-up it is like, well, I get it.
They've been losing like $150 million.
Like, you want to get stuck to where like all of a sudden something happens and like now you're eating shit for 5 more years.
Right. And they decided they're out of the wrestling business. And I think this will be worse for the wrestling business overall. Because WWE being on Fox obviously was good for WWE. Yeah. I don't know if it was good for anyone else, but in WWE's case, they were able to kind of transform SmackDown into an A property, right? When it was always kind of like, there's also SmackDown, like there's also the Temptations, but like I think WWE should be very careful about moving Raw off of Monday nights. It's a 30-year tradition that you play with, and I know they don't care about any of that. Like they will be like, yeah, it's going to Wednesdays. Like they'll do it to fuck with AEW. If they'll do whatever and put it. Some people say, hey, maybe a streaming company is going to do this. They're going to move Raw to Amazon. I think that is not smart whatsoever.
I mean.
The money has to be ridiculous for me to even consider anything like that.
Right. It has to be like the Thursday Night Football type of overpayment type of thing to justify where it's like, all right, fine. Like, you're going to pay us this much money. No one even cares about Thursday Night Football. The games suck always anyway. Throw our bad football there. And then if you person always complains about how bad football is, you ain't got to watch it because you ain't going to pay for it. And you're going to pay us a boatload of money so it don't even matter.
Yeah. And all this money, like, it's almost like, where's this money coming from? Like, what with these streaming services? Because all of them seem to be shutting down or always have money issues
or pulling material off their sites and their servers. Yep.
And it's like, all right, man, NBC Universal, like they get tricked into thinking SmackDown is gonna be like still SmackDown. Like I have news for them. They dropped that shit to cable. That shit is going to be
right
lower.
Right.
And that's why I would be very cautious.
They're not doing 2 million. No.
Right. I would be very cautious about moving Raw off of Mondays, especially you know, we know WWE will pull every trick in the book. They'll load up on nostalgia. They'll stack the deck on, you know, whatever weeks they feel they need to. But their business is going to be really interesting to watch because it's not that like the money's still insane, right? Like let's not get, you know, obviously like you hear this and it's like, yeah, man, they are making $1.4 billion on this deal. What's the problem? It's like,
the problem is people are, when it's out of sight, out of mind, less people watch it. And when less people watch it, less people are less likely to attend. And then your attendance goes down. And then once attendance goes down, then you start worrying about the ratings. Because historically, once a live attendance goes down, then goes the ratings. That's the reason why, like, people are looking around at, like, those very, very ice or soft serve advances for these AEW shows, and are like, should we be worried right now? Like, that's the reason why. And you know, WWE, to their credit, like, they got Cena in, they got Rock in. You know, the Bloodline thing is still going. Because it's drawing people in, and like they're still getting 2 million people every single week for SmackDown of late. And this is the year where it's actually like, you know, paid off for, it's actually been a good deal for Fox, but like they're getting out, and like the whole concern is like, what happens? Like,
it's like you wasted this platform. Like you blew the opportunity.
Right. And once you put that shit on USA, it's going to be 2 hours instead of 3, so obviously it's going to help, but it's like, it's not like they're going to go back and, you know, pull in 2.5. Hell no. It's not happening.
So,
and I don't even know how many like millions less homes, USA is compared to Fox. It has to be dozens of millions.
Yeah. So, you know, moving from that, it was firing season again. The merger is complete. Yeah. TKO Holdings has decided, it's time to start trimming.
Let's announce that we got a new TV deal, the biggest TV deal we've ever had. We're gonna make more money than we ever had. Like, we make more money every year than we ever had, every previous year over year. And as we do that, let's now fire more people after we offered to sign these people up. We wasted their time. Yeah.
And this should be a dead giveaway, I think, for the TV deal too. Like they cut all these people, and it's like, well, I guess this is the response to signing a deal that was less. You know, they took a haircut a little bit. But I guess the biggest one of them all now, he broke after the release of Matt Riddle. Man, when you talk about wasted talent and like someone that's just like an all-world level guy in the ring, he's as much of a problem out of it apparently, and like there's a lot about him, you know, being a sexual deviant that's out there. There are horror stories that exist. There are, you know, just, I don't know, man. It's really a really bad situation with Matt Riddle, and it's like when you are too much for the UFC and the WWE, Jesus Christ. Like, and these are organizations that will look the other way in a heartbeat for something, but it's like, yo, we know the stories that exist. Imagine the ones we don't know.
Right.
And there are drug test issues. There are lots of other issues with Matt Riddle, like, you know, him disappearing off of SummerSlam, you know, a couple years ago was not an accident, by the way. There are, you know, and you know, him just being gone for 30 days at a time and then getting yanked off TV. Like, these were not like These were not storyline write-offs. This was the deal that he had going on with the airport a couple weeks ago. That was like, what the fuck happened here?
I still never heard the whole thing. Like, I only heard his side, and then like, everyone was like me, like, nah, that's bullshit.
Right.
Yeah.
So this guy has all the talent in the world.
Oh well.
Sad, like really sad, and like I don't know. I don't know if he tries to go back to MMA. I don't know if he reaches for his phone, and there's other wrestling promotions interested in bringing him in. We know what the deal is. If he shows up in AEW, what it'll be
Disaster.
Man, on many levels.
Like, look, don't get me look. Before I found all this stuff, we all found out about this stuff with Riddle, like 5 years ago, this 2018, 2019, you could have signed me up for Matt Riddle versus Kenny Omega any day of the week. I don't care. I don't want to see it. I don't want him in AEW. There'll still be, I'm sure he'll get a call to eventually, go to New Japan like he was planning on doing before WWE said, nah, come here. Before they saw New Japan as a domestic threat. But, man, just, a waste of extreme talent.
Yeah. Mustafa Ali. This guy has been trying to get his release for a long time, and he finally got his wish. This is a talented guy.
Like, he's been trying to get what, 2019, 2020?
Something like that. The one.
Remember, he wanted out before Retribution. Retribution was during the Dome.
Yeah.
What I almost called it the bubble. What was this shit called? The Thunderdome?
Thunderdome, yeah.
Yeah.
Now this guy is a creative guy, right? They do have a lot of guys in AEW that already kind of wrestle like Mustafa Ali. He is on the wrong side of 35, but I would consider three things. He is creative. He can come up with his own stuff, which would probably work well for him. Bryan Danielson's a known supporter of his, and then third, I could imagine TK wanting to push a Pakistani guy that is from Chicago. I feel like that would kind of be up, his alley, kind of, and he's almost made in a lab for Tony Khan. So I think that he will eventually be in AEW. I would be excited to see what he does, but I do have questions about him because it's like, all right, there are so many guys that they have. They really don't need anybody that was released from WWE here.
I agree,
and that's not a affront to Ali's talent or anything.
I will say this though, somebody else in a different company contract is coming up. And if they bring him in, I don't want to hear this shit about we got too many guys, because you already got too many guys. You bringing in someone that's not as talented as some of the people that just got released from WWE. So, like, I don't want to hear it. I don't give a damn how many people are there backstage or friends of his or think he's a genius. They think the same thing as some of these other motherfuckers that got let go from WWE. So don't want to hear it. Don't care.
Yeah. I think there's talent there. There's hunger there. I just don't know about the positioning, because it's like, who do you push him over? And
problem for everybody.
It's a problem. And you just add in one more kind of thing in there. It's like, all right, where do we go with this guy now?
Yep.
And I think AEW should focus on the roster it has right now. Dolph Ziggler. Let me start a clap for Dolph Ziggler. You got that rapist money for 19 years. That's a full career, guy. Dolph Ziggler has been, at different times he was one of my favorite guys. At other times I thought he was just, mailing it in, whatever. He's drenched in WWE. This guy never did the indie scene. Like, this guy has never done like outside appearances. This man has made so much money in WWE. And it's like, I imagine he did not cry. He did not, you know, he probably got down and was like, well, done with that. Guess I can do something else. Like, whether, you know, he wants to, you know, I could easily see Ziggler in AEW. I wouldn't have the same concerns about Ali, because Ziggler is like more kind of a like an established veteran that would probably be cool against a couple people. They could always put him with his brother. They could always do. This guy can talk. He can make fans believe. He can be a heel.
Yeah.
He can do whatever. You know, would I necessarily sign him and forget about a Daniel Garcia? I would not, like, because like the answer for AEW is not pushing mid 2000s or early 2010s guys from WWE. Like, it's just not the answer. Like, it's like that's not going to make you a bigger company. So like, invest in your guys, your natural resources there, and keep, like, if you bring these guys in, like, you're bringing them in
to put other people, to put over Darby and Jungle Boy and Hook and the rest of the pillars. Yes. In big spots.
But Ziggler had lots of great moments at WWE.
Yeah.
He had lots of down moments as well.
Yes.
You know, what if this guy didn't get concussed all the time? This guy was a great bumper. This guy did a lot of like great wrestling, like without flying, which is, I think, a hard feat in itself.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine, like, I can't think of a single top rope move this guy ever did. So it's crazy for all the Shawn Michaels comparisons and everything. Like, it's fun. Don't you ever notice these people that get these Shawn Michaels comparisons, like Ziggler and Cole? It's like, where the fuck is their top rope work then? Like, like where's their verticality?
Like, where's the moonsault? Where's the elbow drop? Yeah.
But this guy, he's got talent. He is just like he's a vestige of yesteryear. And if it's me, I would probably stay away, but I'm not living in alt reality. I feel like we will see him. Yeah.
So we probably should have started first with Dolph, considering, you know, he's a 2-time Grand Slam champion in WWE. Like, they fired a dude that, like, should absolutely make their Hall of Fame. I'm not saying he should headline the Hall of Fame like he's the fucking Rock or Triple H or Batista or anything, but like, he should be somebody that's like, in the next decade or so, should be brought into one of those things, does a speech, and then comes out there for WrestleMania with the rest of the people, and people clap for him because he was a mainstay in WWE forever, and that dude was a bit of an Iron Man. Like, so this is how you know, like, how long and how important he actually is to the company or whatever else. Here we go. I'll say the person who tweeted this after. Just seeing these releases now. These days are so fucking tough for the ones who gave their all to our crazy world of pro wrestling. Like Dolph Ziggler, a decorated WWE career. I'll always be a supporter and a fan. Can't wait to see what he does and what everyone does next. #onward. Do you want to know who tweeted that?
Was that the Ric Flair one?
No.
Oh, so that, yes. Well, Ric Flair also sent a lot of nice words out about Dolph Ziggler as well. Would you please let us know who said that, James?
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Rock then, with this tweet, posted a picture that says 19 years, 1,554 matches on TV, third most in the company's history. Two-time World Heavyweight Champion, one-time NXT Champion, because remember, he was an NXT Champion recently. 6-time IC Champion, 2-time United States Champion, 4-time Tag Team Champion, 2012 Money in the Bank winner. He is a 2-time Grand Slam winner.
Yeah, John Cena also put this guy over on Twitter huge.
Yeah. And think of the burials John Cena has given Ziggler on screen. Think of those in the early 2000s.
Many of them.
Yeah. Drop doodle on that man. Remember that?
Yes. Literal shit on this man.
Yes.
You know, to Ric Flair, to AJ Lee, I think said some, or I think it was AJ. No, it was Lana. Talking about Ziggler. Like, everyone was talking about Ziggler, loves this guy. Yeah. So, you know, Big E basically said, Ziggler was like the reason he was able to learn a lot of stuff, coming up in it, because Big E was paired with Ziggler, ironically around the same time One Nation Radio was starting. So,
right.
This guy, for a certain amount of time, and it just didn't happen for him.
It's gonna be hard to explain to people that are younger, that weren't around at the time, and like, yo, he was on the cusp. Like, the shit that's happened with Cody, like, we were all like, yo, that Ziggler guy's more talented, but like, they should probably face each other and have like the Rock Austin, or not the Rock Triple H type of thing. Like, they have their feud with each other, and works so well that like they can move on to like be people that can semi-main event shows together. Like, remember like 2020 or whatever year we started watching, like the next 2 years, like we were like fantasy booking that like they have a match for the IC title at WrestleMania. Never happened, of course, but yeah, we were like, that should be the feud.
Bro, I was like, Cody Rhodes versus Dolph Ziggler should main event WrestleMania 30 at one point.
There you go. But keep in mind, this is like 3 years before that or whatever. This is at the time where like we had just got back into wrestling and we thought it worked the same way it used to work. Where it's like,
correct,
if you're you get the mid card belt, that means that like we are putting you on the short track towards eventually becoming a main eventer, like it had worked when we were like 10 or whatever else.
Yeah.
And then we realized like quickly
it'll work
over
like
years,
that.
like, as we get more and more pissed at this thing, and like we moved away from WWE and moved on to other things, like, yo, this place does not work how it used to work. And if it did, it will work so much better because it will make more sense how you track people up and down cards. But everyone stays around forever and no one ever gets fired anymore. And also for the good, no one dies from steroids and drugs and booze like that anymore. So like that's a plus of it, but part of it is like also the churn was at an all-time snail's pace for forever. No one important ever got fired, and like up until like AEW happened, people started leaving out, so you actually started people getting the chance. Like, think of what you think LA Knight will be doing what he's doing right now if like Moxley and Danielson and Christian and whoever and Jericho were still in WWE? Hell no, they would never give him a shot.
Yep.
This is the benefit of having two major pro wrestling companies in this country again.
So from there are a host of other people that range from, people that just had issues backstage to people that were just around too long to NXT people we've never heard of.
Yeah.
I think the funniest of the remaining ones by far is Top Dollar. What another run for Top Dollar here. This is like, I think we can put it to bed to where people are asking for a full Hit Row reunion, and Swerve and Top Dollar reunited with B-Fab and Ashante the Adonis. Like, I think we can put people going in Swerve comments away. We can put it away of saying, don't you wish you were back in WWE with Hit Row? I think we can stop that now. I was reading Twitter the other week. Top Dog called himself the best promo in the business. So him remaining employed and pushed in a professional wrestling company should not be too hard for Top Dollar. I thought it was very interesting that only he was let go and not B-Fab and Ashante the Adonis. Two people that I've always heard have sterling reputations. B-Fab in particular being a total pro about pretty much everything. Top Dollar. It's hard, man, when you're that big, that black, that outspoken, that kind of unaware at times of how this all works, while having maybe some points about what your gripes are and how you're treated and everything, but never quite being able to, for as depth as he was with his words, struggled to express himself in a way to draw fans to his side, to be engaging, to take the heat off yourself a little bit, like amongst the fans. And I just think WWE was like, what are we doing here after all this time? So if I think he wants to remain in wrestling. He was putting up his booking information around, I think, January 1st from there. So if he wants to remain, in wrestling, you got let go twice in WWE. They were trying to teach you something, I guess. Hopefully these lessons are learned. But I would find it pretty improbable to imagine him in AEW. I don't think that will be his destination. I think he may end up maybe as an Impact wrestler. He said he spoke with them before, but I think the highlight of his run was the failed top rope dive that I think will live on in wrestling Twitter perpetuity. And I'm trying to say all this stuff with the straightest face possible because, people's livelihoods are taken from it. I don't want to, just, go off like that. But James, what do you think of this release? I'm going to get out of the way.
It's unfortunate. Look, I was over here trying to hold it the fuck together when when in the chat Seth Rich Hogan said that failed dive will live forever. I was trying to hold it the fuck together, and then you actually brought it, and you actually mentioned it out loud, and I was like, all right, I can't. I can't.
Seth Rich Rogan, he did in fact top rope catch a vibe. Yes, he did.
Kind of vibes it is. Yeah. Look, I think there's a role for him as a heavy. Obviously, if someone like Trench could get a spot, he could get a spot. I think in a way we're kind of past that kind of thing, except for getting a little heat here and there in pro wrestling. If Sword wants to do that favor for him, cool. I have no problem with it. I don't think he has stepped the line so far that people can't do biz with him if they so choose. What I will say is though, if he comes into AEW, there are some things that I would like to see him do in AEW. And I think I tweeted about it, but one of the first things I would like to see him do is I'd like to see him on BTE, and I would like to see him, interact with the Young Bucks. I like to see the Young Bucks give him a pair of shitty, pandas, as a present, and he got to grin and he got to smile through it. Because look, man, you were taught, look, he didn't say anything that was that crazy, but it was he's clearly taking shots at these people that he doesn't know for no good reason. And it's this is the reason why you shouldn't throw this kind of stuff for no good reason. The whole thing where he got heat with the locker room for saying, after a bunch of people got fired before, they're we can cut promo so we don't worry about that kind of stuff. It's bro,
it wasn't about that, man.
This ain't about that. This is people getting fired because because you work for a conglomerate, right? You work for a corporation, and corporations are heartless. They don't give a fuck about how good what value you actually bring. They're worried about how to make more money for themselves because they're greedy bastards. And so it came off as, very similar to the stuff that Braun Strowman said about the indie scene a couple years back. You just seem like a person that doesn't know or understand the people that are kind of help pave the way for you that you were unaware of because this wasn't the thing that you started off in. And you don't necessarily owe these people your career because obviously you got there based off your own, God-given abilities and what God blessed you with as far as size or whatever else. But it would help you in the long run to have some self-awareness, humility that's hey, there are going to be winners and there are going to be losers, and not to clown on the losers, because winning and losing in this game comes down to the whims of one 70-year-old person that's out of his fucking mind.
The margins are this close,
right? So yeah, people got off in his ass with the jokes or whatever else because
yo.
I'm not allowed to finish the sentence. People got off in his ass with the jokes. I didn't just stop right there.
That's crazy, right?
We're gonna be doing this for the rest of the year. Damn you, Mace. Damn you, Cameron. Anyway,
breaking news.
Yeah.
Katsuhiko Nakajima is leaving Pro Wrestling Noah at the end of October.
Really?
That apparently, according to the chat.
Wow.
So,
wow.
I hope he's not reporting to Orlando. I hope he is not going to QAnon.
He a little too old. He'd be a little too old to be showing up in the PC. Also, he kicked too hard to be showing up in the PC. I don't want to see Nakajima in the PC. Say, hey man, can you not do what you do that makes your matches go? That would be
he will terminate his contract with Pro Wrestling Noah. His last match will be on October 20th and October 28th. Wow.
That's crazy. Like, they just did the whole, like, Axis reunion as, like, the thing that was, like, holding Noah together as far as drawing and selling merch with the t-shirts and everything. That stinks.
Maybe he can jump to Shinihon.
I would like that. Like, they had him lose early. Like, I think Jake Lee's first defense was against Nakajima. And it's like, hey man, like, your defenses are pretty good, but like, that N1 Jake Lee had, aside from his last match, it obviously was better than Evil, but it wasn't much better than the Evil G1 run, which lets you know, like, Jake Lee, just like I thought, he ain't got it. Like, these people are carrying him to these matches in these title defenses.
That sounds strikingly similar to Carry On Cross.
Yeah.
But I love to see him in AEW. You know, we always use some more Japanese wrestlers.
I mean, he came over and did I think an indie show or two in the last year or so.
Yeah.
Like Marufuji also did too. I think it was maybe Garden State. I can't remember. But yeah, whatever, what he wants to do. If he ends up somewhere else, that'd be cool. It'd be funny if he showed up in All Japan. It'd be funny. It's like Jake Lee leaves from Noah, leaves from All Japan, goes to Noah, and like Noah outside of the Muda Bye Bye stuff, like they're struggling like crazy, and like all of a sudden when no Jake Lee around, all of a sudden like All Japan like has quickly like more or less surpassed Noah this year. Once you throw out the Tokyo Dome from Muda, that's a singular thing that will not be replicable, in future years. Like, it's interesting. It's like a lot of Ewing theory there with Big Jake Lee.
But yeah, I'll go through the rest of this list. Emma gone. Rick Boogs gone. Aaliyah gone. Who Wants to Walk with Elias gone. Walk your ass out the company. Riddick Moss.
Can we circle back to Elias?
Yeah.
So before we had the Discord, we really did a lot of trafficking on Facebook in a wrestling group called the Wrestling Squared Circle, and there was one of the most toxic pro WWE fans, a person that bought the Maharaja shirt after he won the title and became the 50th WWE World Champion. That when Elias came around was like, why are they pushing this Finn Balor guy? This makes no sense. He's small. Elias is huge. He has big muscles. And he was dead serious. It wasn't a joke. He was dead serious. And I explained to him, dude, we're in a time where the best draws in combat fighting are Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. Guys that fight that are welterweights. Like, one of them fights at 147. The other one fights at 160 something. What are we talking about as far as the size of the shit? It's about who's charismatic and who's not. Not to say that Elias wasn't, because obviously with the whole knockoff rock concerts thing, he definitely had a buzz for him in 2016 to 17. Definitely did. 2017, 18. Definitely did. But the dude was absolute zero in the ring. He had a V-trigger and elbow drop and nothing else. It just didn't work aside for him doing the promo thing, and he could never, be able to get into video or music or programs with other people. Meanwhile, Finn Balor's still around. He's in one of the most popular factions in the promotion. He's been sent back down to NXT and came back. He's feuded with people that wanted to work with him, like Seth Rollins, like Edge. like, I don't recall anybody wanting to work with, like, Elias or his cousin, Ezekiel. I don't recall any of that over the last 3 years or so. I seem to recall that, like, basically once the pandemic happened, he never was a factor on TV ever again, really, except for Stupid Thing, right? That we're, like, Kevin Owens is making fun of how stupid this whole thing is by losing his mind over how dumb this Ezekiel Elias thing is. So, yeah, take the L.
Big time L.
Yeah. I'm sorry for being petty and bringing up this shit from 2017, but it was like, I remember having this conversation, like, are you out of your mind? Like, Balor's certified. He was a draw in NXT. I saw these two people in the same promotion, and one was a draw, the other one was just a comedy guy. What are we talking about? You think on a bigger stage anything's gonna be different? What's changed? Nothing? Oh, okay.
I remember writing a column before his match with Seth Rollins at Money in the Bank 2018. And I was like, we're going to finally get the answer in this match, because forever they had kept him out of pay-per-view matches, kept him out of singles matches. And I was like, this is happening.
Hours of shows.
Oh, yeah. That man was like the original bottom of the hour guy that we started noticing. But it was like, we're going to get the answer, and there's a reason they're doing all this. All you have to do is pay attention. And then we found out. So it was never the same again. Riddick Moss. This guy was in WWE for 10 years, James. You would think he's made for WWE, but I guess not.
Great physique, tried hard, seemed to be someone that the people in the back liked a lot. Like Paul Heyman, Paul Heyman liked him so much, he went out there and lied about him being like the next Roman Reigns level main eventer or whatever else. But whatever, it didn't work out for him, and that stinks. And if he wants to continue in pro wrestling, I don't mind it, because like people like him. People like him, and he tries hard. Like that little thing he did a couple years ago with McIntyre, I enjoyed. Like those two tried hard. Like the dude just doesn't have any credibility because he's older, and he's not like a great wrestler in the ring. But it's like, enough people gave him a chance. Enough people talked about him highly to be like, okay, I could see giving him a chance somewhere. Where that would be if he wants to continue, I don't know. Like if it's an Impact or ROH, sure. AEW, too many people right now.
I'm gonna be petty too, James. You ever saw any geeks on Twitter gassing up that madcap shit? Ask them, how about it now?
Oof.
And you know who that's for.
Oh, so speaking of that, I thought about that as far as like the madcap thing or whatever else. How many more waves? Well, I'm not going to say it that way. I'll ask this. How much longer does Baron Corbin have? How much more time does he have left with us before he eventually gets cut?
You know, I feel like Baron Corbin.
I don't think he has 24 months left in him.
I think Corbin is kind of. I think him being tall.
Yeah, sure. Here's my question: what has he contributed to WWE that Dolph Ziggler hasn't? Not a goddamn thing.
Well, he's a lot younger than Dolph Ziggler. Cool. He's not that much younger. He's probably like 37.
He's 37.
38.
Look at what Dolph Ziggler accomplished by the time he was 37 in his company, and look what Baron Corbin has accomplished in the time when he's that age. Obviously, he's longer, whatever. You want to compare 10-year length? You want to compare whatever? Sure. He's been around and up on the main roster since 2018, I think.
I think Vince McMahon likes him.
Yeah. Vince McMahon likes everybody, though. I'm not saying that I'm hoping or wishing for it. I'm just saying, like, you look at the people that are like next to go, and a lot of this comes down to people that we think, a lot of them, like, we'll let these people go, and we definitely don't think they're going to show up in New Japan on Strong and going to pop a number for them and then pop a house number, and we definitely don't think they're going to show up in AEW and make a difference. Baron Corbin would not make a difference in AEW at all.
At all. Shelton Benjamin, 48 years old. Older than I thought. I didn't think he was that old. I was shocked to find out that he came back to WWE in 2017. People like his Hurt Business stuff.
Yeah.
People perpetually wanted this guy to get more opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, he got that Ravens money.
Yep.
Dana Brooke.
I will say this: he's a person that loves to wrestle. He went to Japan. He was wrestling in Noah and other places in New Japan or whatever else. So like, if he, he's older now, he'll obviously, have on a schedule compared to what he was doing back then. But, I think he'll still be around, and we'll see him pop up from place to place. And people have a nice feeling of nostalgia with Shelton Benjamin. So like, I don't, he popped up in AEW to go come in for a shot and lose somebody like how RVD did recently. Before he got, signed recently, like, I have no problem.
Let him go crazy.
I have no problem with him showing up and having some match with like Roderick Strong or whatever. I have no problem with that at all.
Dana Brooke, around for a very long time.
Yeah. It never panned out.
It should have. I remember like when she signed, I was like, oh, she's like this, like she looked like just super athletic, but it never actually translated into wrestling.
So you were watching NXT at the time I wasn't. I remember you said like she might got something, and I remember watching her, and I was just like, I don't see what he see. And like the weird thing about it is like so many reports and so many people like spoke so highly of her and how hard she worked to try to get better at this. And like this is like the proof is like it's not, when people talk about, these players, these basketball players or whatever else, like, why can't they just improve their jumper? Hey man, like the creator sometimes only hits you with your bars, they're only able to extend to this particular level on the meter thing of the shot, like, your attributes or whatever else. You can only clock out at certain thing. Like you can't get to 100. The most you can get is to is 75. She was never able to go above a certain level, and regardless of how hard she tried, and she's been around doing it for a long time, and it's just unfortunate. Also, she dated Enos Freedom. That's also, interesting.
Yeah. I believe she's married to some MMA fighter now, so maybe there's a type there.
I mean, that type was that type definitely screams Fox News. If you go from that to that, yeah, definitely. I guess she go out with a CrossFitter after this, a pro CrossFitter.
She probably knows a lot of them.
Yeah.
Mansoor and Mace. What's up?
A Rogan Knight.
Yeah. Mansoor and Mace. Now these guys like went crazy on a stream together. I heard they were just shooting the shit.
I heard something about some Seth slander, which also matched up to some stuff I also heard about Seth.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm not gonna get into that, but Mansoor. All I want to know is, does Big MBS know about this? Was Big MBS told that Mansoor is no longer in wrestling anymore?
Look,
because I don't think Big MBS knows about AEW or anything.
He may not be in wrestling today. He may not be in wrestling tomorrow. But when they go to Saudi Arabia, I bet his ass will be in wrestling then, and I bet his ass will be out here picking up that big W. So yeah, I wouldn't have fired him just for the fact we're like, you're already in there with them. Like, give these people what they want. They want to see Mansoor win. So
and apparently there was an edict that said that man was not allowed to lose in NXT. Hilarious.
Wow. It's crazy.
Quincy Elliott. All right. I'm gonna just be 100%.
Is Quincy Elliott who I think it is?
Yes.
Okay.
I saw people when this guy emerged on the scene on Twitter acting like you were the ones that were weird if you didn't get what was going on here. That you were the problem for not understanding or seeing that. I saw no pro wrestling appeal in Quincy Elliott. I think, I'm not saying like, hey, he shouldn't do this for a living. I'm not saying anything like that. This just wasn't like, I just don't see how what he was attempting to do was going to get over with an audience.
So
at this level.
So Dr. Larry says Mabel 2.0. I'm sorry. I get why you're saying that from the just the basic nuts and bolts of the look. But I gotta say, I don't imagine a time where where Quincy Elliott and his protege will be rocking the United Center like that SummerSlam with Mo and Mabel. I just don't see it. I don't fucking see it. I'm sorry. It's not in the cards. Not in the cards.
On top of all the problematic stuff that I've heard about with this gentleman, good riddance. Baba Tunde, Shanky, and then...
Remember when that man debuted at Wrestle fucking Mania?
Yes.
They brought that man out to be the Deus Ex Machina to take the IC belt off of Big E. And then that led to Big E getting that bullshit title reign where they left him to, we're going to make you champion, except like, you'll just hold the belt and we'll treat you like shit. So yeah, thanks. Also, quick question. Does Apollo still got to have the fake put on the Nigerian accent, or does he talk like how he normally used to talk now? I don't know.
Well, I thought he went back to NXT, so I don't know if, when you change universes, does it stay or not?
Okay. Did he have to go to like the same like judge that had to decide the stuff for Kofi Kingston in his accent, or no?
Yes, because it was Triple H. So,
wait a minute. What happens to your accent? That shit is hilarious. That shit's hilarious. He's like, hey man, I'm tired of doing this fake accent. I am Ghanaian. I'm not Jamaican. I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this stereotypical shit. All right, well, let's make a joke out of it. How do we get out of this? How do you can stop doing that shit? Let's say where it's called scamming. I call it scamming. I was never. That's actually kind of brilliant in a way. It's kind of brilliant to like poke fun at like the part where like this man's gonna stop doing this shit and we're gonna move on. Except like his music gonna still be fucking Jamaican for years and years. He'll still calling these fucking Caribbean tropical colors and shit.
Bro, can we get this man some Afro beats now or something? Man, what the fuck?
Kofi up until New Day was still dressing like the colors that Young Joe was rapping about.
Whirlwind, nigga.
Champagne tropical and weave away. Oh my god. Yeah, man.
Lots of releases.
Yeah, lots of releases. Anything else, or we just move on from here? Because I think that's the best people gonna get it.
Yeah. Aaliyah, she was around for 10 years. Absolutely sucked.
Yeah, I think the best tweet I saw about this was from Sierra. Sierra said, someone said, like, damn, like, W wasted her whole 20s. And then Sierra responds, like, just like a man. I was like, now, Sierra, come on, man. Like, we just trying to have a conversation,
Trying to be nice.
Yeah.
We ain't had to hold this, You didn't have to leave us with this.
Yeah. I said to Sierra, now come on. She goes, did I say anything wrong? I didn't respond because she was right.
Bro, I think they should really seriously consider like overhauling the NXT program as a staff, record label, and crew. There were so many people on that list that were produced by the Performance Center that amounted to less than nothing. They'll get their 5 people out of like 150 and call it a success.
Right.
But you would have to think there's a more efficient way to do this. And Endeavor is probably looking at NXT like I look, never, and I mean never, show Endeavor the NXT books and then have Triple H try to sell them on why we need to keep this around, like, because it's gonna be like, don't none of this add up. We got 10 years. Look at the damage.
Now, don't get me wrong. Like, developmental is meant to be a money loser, right?
Correct.
But you ain't got to lose as much money, right? So
downscale this,
right? So you definitely have a point. And you look around and you look at the Naga Gym, you look at LA Dojo, you look at everybody, whether it's Taka Michinoku and JTO, Getsu, Mayu, Hazuki. Like, you look at the people that churn out wrestlers all around the world, and it's like, how come seemingly every place that produces wrestlers turn out wrestlers better than the worldwide leader? Like a far better like hit rate. It's just weird, man. It's really weird.
So
like think of Rich.
Okay.
Do you remember Lady C's first like her when she was a rookie? How pathetic of a wrestler she was?
I don't remember how bad it was really for her.
It was bad. It was bad. But like, how many people you look at what she has been like the last 18 months or whatever else, and it's like, how many wrestlers have the PC produced that have like better cage matches than her? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, and that's just Lady C. Like, come on, man. Like, Clark Connors and Kid and Yumura and freaking Gene Blast and even Watto. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this is it's a barren wasteland in a lot of aspects. They'll teach you how to lift some weights, though.
Yeah, definitely. They won't teach you how to. They won't teach you
your ACL.
Yeah, or fuck up your shoulder. Yeah.
So there was another pro wrestling show that happened this week. It was from a new company, American Joshi company called Sukeban, I believe it's called, or
Sukeban, yeah.
Sukeban, but I'm sure they, like the pronunciation is like Ske or something.
Look, we're American.
We're learning.
We're American. When
Sukeban.
When our Japanese brothers like pronounce our American names, they don't have this huge like thing about making their words sound American. They do it the best they can in their tongue. I don't feel the same. I don't feel like I need to, because they do it that way. I don't feel we have to try to attempt to butcher their language. I'm sorry. I'm doing the best I can.
Zach saving us with the pronunciation. It is Sukeban.
Okay.
So they ran their first show this week. It was live on TikTok.
Yeah.
I pulled up the TikTok as it was happening. I was like, I can't exactly do this because it's like not like the refresh rate was
Stream
like, it was okay.
Awful. Stream was awful. You couldn't hold it on 1080. If you put it at 720, you might drop frames or might boot you out. You had to just put it to auto or put it to like 360. Yeah.
Yeah. So that I was like, I'll
from
just
the
catch
PC,
it when...
not the phone, the PC.
Oh, okay.
Or laptop.
I was using the phone when I pulled mine up. So I was like, I'll just wait.
Yeah.
So luckily, the video link popped up on YouTube a little while later.
Yeah,
so
a couple days.
That's the current version I had. So like overall, what I was watching, like so I had quite a busy weekend. I was in Massachusetts over the weekend. Flew back Sunday, and I had connecting flights and stuff like that. So I got home and I was like, all right, it's only 90 minutes, so I'm gonna watch this thing. But I guess I was jet lagged and it caught up to me, and I fell asleep during the middle of the third match.
Mm-hmm. And I can see when that match would put you to sleep too.
So, I thought this thing was interesting. I think it is a cool thing in a company that is worthwhile and should exist.
Yeah.
And if there's something to open just more spots for Japanese women's wrestlers in something they enjoy and they get paid and can ultimately like make money on whatever like small level this is, like, and kind of become somewhat of like a novelty thing, because it does not really feel like pro wrestling. It has the outline of pro wrestling. Like, yeah, there's time limits, there's factions, there's obviously wrestling matches and stuff like that, but it does not feel like it's a living, breathing. It's very contained to its own like universe, and I feel like you're gonna have to like pay attention to the lore, I think, with this thing to really get the most out of it. Right. I thought it was cool. Yeah. Arisa Nakajima coming out to Mother. So like they had a bunch of non-cleared music in this thing, which was pretty funny.
Playing the Pat Benatar and the Joan Jett. Yeah, a lot of the aesthetic choices in the music I really enjoyed, or whatever else. And then we'll get into the wrestling later, but there's something there, like just from the visual, like looking at the groups' aesthetics, how distinct they are as collectives, and also inside of their unit, and also as individuals that stand out. Like Midnight Player on the Vandals makes all the sense. Aoi makes all the sense in the world. Like, she looks cool. Obviously, she has the Takumi Aroha haircut that we all fucking love. Yep. But it's like, she looks like somebody, and you want to see, and she looks mischievous, or mischievous. Mischievous, that's the word, mischievous. Like, I'm putting mysterious and what, mischievous, like, there's something there. Like, seeing, Dangerous Liaisons, all of them, except for maybe Risa, all of them, like, these are all badasses that will cut corners to get the job done. I can't wait to see what these evil motherfuckers do. I'm into that. And then, like, the babyface squads, like the Cherry Bombs, and I think it's Cherry Bombs, and also, like, the Harajuku Stars, is like, that makes all the sense. Like, you have Unagi, or I think it's Sayaka Ishikawa, or I think it's
Ichigo Sayaka.
Ichigo Sayaka. Okay, I was gonna call her Sayaka. So, and also like Maya, like, yeah, that makes sense. They go together, whatever else. The pretty girls with like almost like the Sailor Moonish type of aesthetic, with like they have similar outfits but it's the colors. Like I like the outfits and all that kind of stuff. And like, some of the, and I really like the opening match with the comedy, and he got over their characters and their factions as far as like who they are and what they do and everything, and also, I forgot what Yoniyama's name is in Sukeban, but like, it got over a lot of stuff. I did like the post-match angles for most of the stuff.
Otaku-chan.
Otaku-chan, yeah, that's right. Cause she has like the spinner cap or everything. I liked all of that. And I'm not necessarily like dying for this thing to be a knockdown drag out. I'm not expecting this to be a Seatly main event 5 matches in a row. It's not. Right? I just feel like they're doing storyline telling as far as like, this person just came in, what faction they belong to, do they want to join factions? And then you see, and then you go from there. Also, the descent, or what led to the upset victory in the main event that leads to the title match between Nakajima and Sayaka. Cool. They're telling stories in the ring, right? Like, this is one of the things that like they didn't do with, say, Nomads last year or 2 years ago. I just wonder what rated these shows going to come at us to where we can actually like dig our teeth into actually getting a feel for what this promotion actually is supposed to like. This is just the beginning, and we'll see from there. Cause like, I'm lukewarm on the beginning. I'm willing to give this another chance. Cause I did like the opener. I did like the third match between, Stray Cat and Midnight Player. It was fun seeing the X was Konami. It was funny also seeing Konami basically like a throwback to what her young girl gear was when she was, trained by and working underneath Asuka Kana. But like, to see that kind of talent in the ring, to see Konami and Miyuki Takase, I forgot what Takase's name is. I was just, because it's Takase
Queen of
something.
Hearts. Actually, no, Queen of Hearts. Yeah,
it's Queen of Hearts something Takase.
Yeah.
To see her and also the third person there, and they have a match where they're just basically like they're going through the motions. And that 3-way, it was like, that's disappointing because I know what Takase can do. I know what Konami can do. Like, they're great wrestlers. So, yeah.
I thought
whether the wrestling has to come around eventually, and I think it will, but because they're focused more on getting over the characters right now. And I don't necessarily mind it. I'm just like, okay, that's fine. This stuff's working so far for me it's done enough for me to want to watch it again. But if it's going to be more of the same for the second thing, I might tap out.
Yeah, I think this will have an audience that is looking for an entry point, that maybe feels like Stardom is too overwhelming with the amount of events that they have, and like the seemingly like very deep storylines that people were just like, yeah, man,
they date back to other promotions.
Yeah, they're just like, yeah, I just can't, sit through whatever. But like, I can imagine people, if this catches like on YouTube or TikTok the right way, this actually kind of becomes something that I think a lot of hardcore Joshi fans will end up resenting.
You're right.
Like they will see it and be like, hold on, this is people like, man, I really like this stuff, and like this is the stuff this is cool. Like, right. And they be like, hold on, why y'all ain't never like none of this shit? Like, it's gonna get real, like something right. Like that Usher, like that y'all made this shit for them. Like,
you're right. I didn't even think about that, but you're right. Like I think some of the Lucha Underground comparisons or
Glow.
The glow I get from the aesthetic. Obviously, the wrestling's still better. Yeah. But the Lucha Underground is like, this is pretty self-contained. If they talk about like relationships people had in the past, they'll talk about it and make it into their storyline that's happening in front of you right now, as opposed to let's go back, and have someone that on a podcast like this explain what happened in Actress Girls, right, from 2006 or 17. So yeah, I agree with that, and I think that in whatever form or fashion, like this existing and this succeeding will be good, because obviously we know what the situation is, how dire it is, the scene is in Japan, outside of Stardom and Tokyo Joshi Pro. So yeah, like this is a way for them for a lot of these wrestlers, or some of the best wrestlers in the world, to continue being able to do this for a living, as they're already probably working a real gig as opposed to being pro wrestlers. Fine by me. And look, the matches or whatever else, they'll come. Like I'm not saying it's going to turn into the fucking Grand Prix or anything like that, but like they'll have banger matches and memorable matches based off of like these characters and their interactions and the fallout from them turning on each other and that kind of stuff. Like that's already instant right now. So they as long as like the matches eventually come, I think they'll do fine. And obviously, the bar is very low for people that do not watch Joshi wrestling. As far as knowing how talented these people are, like I'm sure they've heard of some of these people from the magazines or whatever else. People see the Joshi freaks like us talk about these people in Stardom or whatever else. But it's one thing to hear it; it's another thing to finally see it. And if they have Commander Nakajima wrestle at what she normally at her normal level that she does at ceiling, or hell, let's say you put 70% on it, you put a cap on it, make it less violent or whatever else. People are really going to enjoy what they see if she's the first champion. So yeah, I'm like I said, I'm going to give this a chance or two more. And like I like what I've seen in some aspects, but like at this point, like with all the wrestling that's around, I think it's smart for them to have gone with this route as opposed to being like, we're going to be a standard Joshi promotion with young girls going out there getting their ass kicked and squashed out and bringing, you doing her normal you thing as opposed to Crush You. I think this is for the best. Now, I think there's a chance. I think this is more, what do you call it? This appeals to more, this has a chance to reach more people. A lot more people. So yeah, it doesn't have to be, Stardom America version. It doesn't have to be ran like how I would run if I had a $5 million in my back pocket, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, so like I'm gonna check out the rest of the show, and I'm gonna check out whenever they do a new one. It looks expensive. I'll say that. It does. Like they are booking buildings in New York. I think they drew like 750 people.
That's what they claim.
That's what they say. I'm sure the attendance folks like JD will run this down and figure it out. Yeah, remember we regularly talk to people like JD and Velcash that will look at look at like year by year photos of venues and events and old numbers. Be like, hey, bro, you saying this number is bigger than that old number? You look at these crowds, that crowd smaller than the old crowd, or what's going on? So like that 730 that sounds dubious to me, considering like how many tickets did that NWA All Women's pay-per-view sell? Like 1,000? 1,100? It was not great.
Right. You think that I'd be surprised. Obviously, there were a different group of people involved with this, whatever, but to say that like they would do that high percentage compared to that, really, really surprised me. I don't know how many people would have to fly in to make this make that work.
Like,
and also, it would have been everybody that we know and we talked to on Twitter had to fly in to get to the sound. So,
like,
as far as the Joshi shit,
I think they gotta try to market this in a way to where it's like this New York thing, like that you have to see while you're in New York, or
stable it to like whatever big events are happening in pro wrestling, and hopefully grab somebody and be like, hey, I want to check this out.
Right.
Like if you want to staple this to like All Out, or Double or Nothing, or
I'm wondering who's behind this. And I'm sure we'll eventually get more clarification on that. I feel like I have a couple leads I can follow that may get me close to the answer. So I'm going to probably try to follow up on that and see what the, kind of see what's behind this, if that's possible. But, yeah, man. So AEW Grand Slam was last week. That was Wednesday.
Yeah.
And it was an awesome show. And I thought like there was a lot of kind of hand-wringing going into it. I was looking, I wasn't necessarily a fan of like the whole tournament that happened with Joe leading MJF and all that. But the Claudio thing and Eddie sold itself to me. The Jericho and Sammy thing I was really up for.
Mm-hmm.
So let me pull the card up here.
At least I know the opening match was I believe the opening match was a Claudio and Kingston match, and the second match was Jericho versus Guevara.
Yep. This thing was like a mini pay-per-view, 5 matches.
Yeah.
Not a ton of like backstage stuff. So we opened with.
I thought they did get used to going backstage, like to get people to walk through the crowd or whatever else, and then come back to the ring for match. Like I thought it was nice. It reminded me almost like of. It's not the exact way that like takeovers were done, but like in a way where it's like there's a match. Let's cut to something quickly as a buffer, and then come back to the ring.
Yeah. So we started. With Eddie Kingston and Claudio Castagnoli opening with the big All Japan style entrances, walking them in from the back, saying what's up to their partners essentially, and then heading out there dressed like Masawa and Kawada, and they went at it for 15 minutes there, and this ended with Eddie Kingston getting a big win over Castagnoli, winning the ROH world title and putting that with the New Japan belt, and Eddie Kingston 2 belts, a guy that couldn't buy a win in this promotion a couple years ago.
Yep.
Do I wish it was for the actual AEW world title? Yes,
especially right now. Fuck.
But like I guess people bought into the the ROH stuff, but I know deep down he wants the other one, and I think that there's still enough in the tank to where people can celebrate this accomplishment and then still hope the other one's down the road for Kingston somewhere, because that's kind of I think that's his career story arc now. It's either that or like fighting Moxley along the way or whatever. Like if he wins it, do you think he has to win it from Moxley?
Not necessarily, because like honestly the biggest thing would have been if like he had won it off heel MJF, but we're past that now. Or at least like got the match at least, because that would have been, oh my god, like that's what I want out of the MJF title reign instead of this, but whatever. But yeah, like this was very satisfying. This was very fun. Love the match. Love the selling. Love the psychology. I love the part where it's like, we talk about Julia and Tam, and we talk about like people like Becky and Charlotte, and talk about like the heat that's there, or like the part where like they're so good at what they do on screen that you can buy that they detest each other. Or maybe they've had blows with each other, but like the part where like at the end of the day, like they're working in unison, like that one pay-per-view after Charlotte did the belt drop thing, and then they show up, and everyone thought like Charlotte had all this heat on her, and then they show up, her and Becky, and they have like matching thematic gear. And then, like, everyone, you know, and Kingston always talks about this is real, X, Y, and Z. And how much he hates Claudio or whatever, or else. And then what do? These two bitches show up and they wear their matching Kawada and Masawa gear. Like, you fucking carnies. Like, Kingston's so heavy, making everyone believe that everything is real, that he actually hates Claudio's guts to death over some fucking, as Monty said, some Shakara bullshit. So, I just love it where it's like they couldn't help themselves but to expose the business. They couldn't help themselves. This is our night, brother. We've been running up these roads all these years, and we finally get to this big ass show, and it's time for me to put you for us to have our match, and I finally get you the big win over else. Oh, let's do matching gear. They didn't even think of that. They didn't realize that they just gave themselves away. Yeah, it doesn't matter, but it was so fun. It's so easy to believe them over all this time that like over the last year that like they really don't fuck with each other. Claudio's just like dismisses that dude and it's drove Kingston nuts over all these years, and he finally got the handshake from that man. So yeah, it was a really fun moment. I really enjoyed it. Like, this is probably my favorite Kingston moment in AEW. And you know, I've been someone that was like, bro, he's got it, but they keep fucking beating him, and it's fucking irritating me. Like, that Kingston keeps being put in position to fucking lose, and that Tony Khan doesn't realize that they can do something with this dude. Let him get some wins. So yeah, like, now that he's winning, I'm very happy now, because like, it was like, why are they doing this to this dude? Don't they hear this crowd? Don't they see this television that he keeps doing? Don't they hear these promos? Give this dude a shot. So yeah, I'm really happy right now, and it was a great moment. And like, this, you know, this is my favorite Kingston this is my favorite Kingston moment. Like, the whole thing where he comes out there and he gets his shot in New York. I really enjoyed that. And I shout out to Dan Coffin. I don't know. I haven't talked to him about it, but like, I'm happy that however happy he was for it, I'm happy for him too.
Yeah. I think Claudio did like a really great job between like last year's Grand Slam and this one. You know, kind of getting like to show his value and being like a model wrestler the whole time, in the ring, out the ring, and like you can launch him elsewhere now. You know. and keep doing like cool matches to where like he's this mountain that people need to climb over. So you know, it's right up his alley. Up next, we had Chris Jericho taking on Sammy Guevara in a match that I had wanted to see for a long time, and for me, it did not disappoint. I was totally into this thing, and I was like, just wondering what would happen. I thought it was so cool. Shout out to my man Montez. He got to perform Sammy Guevara's song.
I didn't realize that was him rapping over all these years. I had no idea.
Yep. So I thought it sounded really good. You know, sometimes you get people rapping on the songs and there's like, you know, the stadium, like the timing is off. Like, nah, he had that shit. So shout out to him. And Sammy comes out with the light jacket, kind of like Jericho.
Right.
I like that touch. He basically shows up in like WrestleMania 19 Jericho gear, kind of, and this is like almost a redux of that entire match.
The post match, definitely.
And it was just like, I thought this was a really cool finish. Shooting star press into the code breaker. You know, Sammy was picking Jericho up. You know, throughout the match, Jericho was like hanging right there with him. This thing was wrestled as a babyface match, but we, you know, find as often times at the end of a babyface match, something happens. Like, so, Jericho ends up getting the win. And I was like, oh wow, he won. And, you know, I was like, all right, cool. And then Sammy, like, I could just tell they were just standing in the ring too long. I was like, bro, he's gonna do something. Like, there's gotta be something that happens here. What do you know? He kicks the man in the groin. All the WrestleMania 19 stuff comes flashing back to me, and it's like, man, this is the end of Jericho and Sammy. Really, after 4 years in this company, I was like, all right, let's do it. Like, and you know, Don Callis comes strolling out, and I'm like, wow, like the sales pitch worked, and then I started thinking, this nigga Kenny Omega's a genius. He's like, all right, this, you know, I'm about to one by one hand select this heel factory when I got this fucking belt next year. I'm gonna fight Sammy, Takeshita, and Ospreay, and whoever else. But this Callous unit is growing by the month seemingly. I like the move for Sammy. I did like the fact that he was a babyface and turned a lot of those reactions around that people thought were really dug in. Like I think he did a good job this summer of reminding people like, hey man, I'm Raw in the ring, and people weren't gonna hold up the weird hate of him forever. I felt like, and he did a good job with that. Could he have remained babyface longer? I think that would have been good, but Jericho's done a lot of yo-yoing himself, as far as losing matches and then alignment and stuff like that. Maybe it's good for him to be a babyface for a little while.
Yeah. I was, for a while I've been into the idea of having to help rebirth the tag team division, like Guevara in Garcia. And then, they talked about we're going to have a match and then we're going to have, and then we're going to, reform the Sex Gods. I was like, okay, I'm cool with that too. So, I was actually into that, and that was a part of the part where it's like, okay, he's turning heel. That sucks. He took that from me, you asshole. So good job. That's a killer crew. If Guevara's your third best worker, that's a good fucking faction. So yeah, I'm with it. And then my immediate thoughts is oh, so they finna have Jericho. They gonna have Jericho and Omega team up to go get this nigga Callous. And I'm like, I'm with that too. go beat his ass. Look, V trigger that man and then put that man into the walls.
or V trigger, or excuse me, give him the Judas effect, and on the way down, Kenny's timing that man perfect with a V trigger. That's what you do. To the side of the head. So yeah, you mentioned the alignment. So on Rampage, Kenny Omega actually saved Chris Jericho from an ass whooping from Sammy Guevara and Konosuke Takeshita, and ran him off with a chair or in Callous or whatever. And they are teaming up
Does
now.
Does mean Jericho finally shows up on BTE?
I think he's been on there before.
Oh, he seems to avoid that stuff like the plague. He's like, hey, bro, Rampage, only announcing, brother.
Yeah, smart.
BTE, I'm not doing that shit.
But he they're doing a trios match. It's Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, and Kota Ibushi against Will Ospreay, Konosuke Takeshita, and Sammy Guevara. I did not know such a RLPW match could ever exist. This has got to be in the top 5% of those. What the fuck? This is booked for me. Also, there was news of Chris Jericho versus Konosuke Takeshita happening at DDT.
It broke over the weekend, right?
That got booked. So it hasn't happened yet. But
no, but I mean, it got announced over the weekend that they're doing it. Yeah.
Yep. So that another promotion for Chris Jericho to go to. I don't think he's ever been to DDT before. So
is he going to partake? Because keep in mind, he knows about DDT because back in the day, the first time I ever heard of it, right? This was they had Sami Zayn and Adrian Neville on Talking Jericho, and they talked about the Kota Ibushi Yoshihiko match, right? Mm-hmm. And Jericho's like, wait, what? There's a guy that's out here wrestling a blow-up doll? And this before we knew who Ibushi was. And I was like, that's kind of fucking sick. And then we see Ibushi for the first time, and then we find out that he wrestled the blow-up doll, and he's having a fucking great match with a blow-up doll. What the fuck? And it's this promotion does this kind of goofy shit, DDT, and it's does Jericho remember this? Has he put two together that this is the blow-up doll promotion? I don't know. But, is he going to watch the undercard as he's there and be like, what in the fuck is going on? Why are they teabagging each other? What is happening?
Bro, I think it's Chris Jericho. He's be like, bro, let that man do more than one DDT show. I guarantee you that man do some foolishness. That man will do anything to get over.
Look, man, I ain't trying to see Jericho in pheromones. I'm just not. I can't.
You trying to see him on the bicycle?
No, I'm not. I don't want to see him on the bicycle either. In fact, what I want to see is Kano on the bicycle and then slapping Takagi's ass, or slapping the shit out of him some more. That's what I want to see.
Look,
anyway.
Chris Jericho definitely wants to do a train fight. Definitely wants to do one of those.
We haven't talked about that, but like that was funny. Like the Minoru Suzuki Takagi matches where like they fight in these weird venues over and over, and then all these fucking sight gas keep happening. It's like, because the Tokyo Dome one is like when they ran into the Shinsuke Nakamura dude and Suzuki kicked the shit out of that man. I think didn't Aja Kong sing the national anthem?
Yes.
Yeah, like and then this one was like Kensuke Bashi is a fucking ticketer on the bullet train. Like, keep in mind, I was on a bullet train back and forth from Tokyo to Nagoya when I was over there. Like, can you imagine? It had unknowingly, like, they decided to do that shit that week, and all of a sudden, I'm like, fuck, is that Kensuke Bashi? What the fuck is going on? What's happening?
What's wrong with this? What are these sites?
Yeah. So yeah, man. It was funny as hell to see, but yeah, man. Like, it's gonna be some shenanigans. It's gonna be interesting to see if Jericho wants to partake in the shenanigans. They'll let him if he wants to, but I don't know. Jericho might be like, bro, I'm too old for this shit. I don't know. We'll see. I think it would buy him a lot of goodwill if he was with the shenanigans.
Yeah. So up next, we have Rey Fenix taking on Jon Moxley for the AEW International Championship. Orale. Rey Fenix with the championship here. There was a lot that went into this whole thing between before All Out. Fenix getting written off by the BCC with the injury stuff. He's back here. Then Jon Moxley going down injured during the match, catching a front flip off the dive off the stage. Mox got his bell rung by that, and he wasn't right the whole match. Then there was a big refereeing error at the end where Knox just like doesn't count 3 for whatever reason. It's like I don't know what happened. Furious. Yeah,
he said count it, and then I guess Klaus was like, "Nah, you playing?"
Yeah, like nah, I ain't counting shit. But he was like, and then Phoenix like picks him up again, dumps him again, and then you had all the nastiest agendas. Oh my God, I could just see it from a mile away. You know they loved their Jon Moxley, James. Like they loved in a different way. In a different way. A, he's not coming back. B, AEW broke up the Shield. Deal with it. So, because that's all it is.
But that's the reason why I say they ain't coming back. We're not doing the 10th reunion of the Shield.
Yeah. So while you send out slowed down videos of the wrong move, Ryan Satin, that actually hurt him. Injuries happen in wrestling. He got his head bust catching a dive. This wouldn't have happened to the Miz because Miz wouldn't have caught the dive. Like this would have been Phoenix that would have fell. So it's a tough sport. It's a tough business. He was concussed, but it didn't sound like it was anything that is going to put him out for a really long time. It's unfortunate to see anyone get hurt, but they switched the match seemingly on the fly, and Phoenix gets the international championship. And thank God. Like, I think it actually works out kind of better this way because it's like, all right, we've seen Jon Moxley with championships in AEW, and it's not bad or anything, but it's like, yo, you can do something and kind of legitimize Phoenix's career a little bit and be like, yo, if you treat it with care, you can have this guy go out and have a bunch of incredible matches and literally do what Jon Moxley and Hangman did. You have Moxley come back later on after this guy's defended the belt like 6 times or whatever and gone crazy with it. And I'm saying, like, book him versus Vikingo. Book him versus fucking, like, give him another big win against somebody. Like, have Sammy Guevara challenge him and lose or something like that. Like, let this man go nuts or whatever with it. And, offset some of this meme wrestling that's at the top of the card. Let's keep that international belt pure,
bro.
So to say.
Book him versus literally anyone. Like, for years now at this point, I have lamented that how automatic that Phoenix and Penta are as singles wrestlers or as a tag unit or as a trios with pact in Death Triangle that is like, they often seem to be unappreciated in ways where it's like, oh, they'll go out there and they'll have their 4 to 5 star match or whatever else in a big spot on pay-per-view. And then like, they'll win or they'll lose, and then it doesn't really matter. They'll just be put into the next thing and we'll just move on. And not to say they don't get storylines, they do, right? They get feuds all the time. They're not elaborate feuds or anything, but they're feuds nonetheless. They get used. I'm not saying they're not used, but I've always felt that, like, you know, similar to Best Friends as a trios, they're just like kind of put there to go out there and lose at times as singles. I'm like, hey man, like, Phoenix is one of the most automatic wrestlers I've ever seen. Penta somehow, like, even though he's in one of the greatest tag teams of all time, as a singles wrestler, he's better than he is as a tag wrestler. Even though he's had some of the best tag matches I've ever seen in my life. So I've always been like, hey, don't just poo-poo this. You have an actual chance if you want to like push that dude to be the Rey Mysterio Jr. for AEW. Phoenix. And you know, this happened on accident, but they can make this and legitimize him as someone that like had him in run with the title, and you could put him in you put him in singles matches for belts in the future and sell those on not pay-per-view, maybe on pay-per-view, maybe on TV or whatever else. Like, he's that level of talent where it's like he, you know, like that Vikingo and Omega match that happened earlier, how that popped the rating, whatever else. You could absolutely pop ratings with Phoenix as a challenger because of how ridiculous of insane the stuff he's done over the years and the work he's put in. Like, he's a cornerstone wrestler for this company, right? Like, he's part of the nucleus. I won't say cornerstone. Like, I'm not saying he's Jericho or anything, but like, he's part of the nucleus of like why this thing has worked or whatever else. And like, I'm glad that he finally got a singles title. It's long overdue. Like, when the international title or All Atlantic title at the time was announced, like, my first ideas was like, put it on Rey Fenix and let him go and let him tour the world and have killer matches everywhere, because he's one of the best wrestlers or best talents in professional wrestling. So I'm happy it happened, and like, we'll see what they do with this for now. But if they let him go out there and do his thing, he's going to rip it up. He's going to make it real hard. He's going to make it real hard for a lot of fans who, like, when they get back to the Moxley thing, because it should go back to Moxley, or people are actually going to feel bad for him, and it could add on to like the kind of heartbreak it was when, you know, Orange Cassidy lost it, where it's like, now you really, really, really don't like Moxley as a heel. And he's obviously always going to have his fans, so he's Moxley, but like, it could be beneficial. It could be like the US title run was in 2015 for Cena, where like, he's giving these guys chance to like jump up the card and, you know, have spotlight, showcase matches, wrestling a actual top guy.
James, I'll take this a bit further than you when it comes to Rey Fenix. Rey Fenix, obviously, you know, we follow Dave Meltzer and, you know, all the matches that he's given 5 stars. Rey Fenix is ranked number 17 all time with 9 5-star matches or above.
Okay.
9. He's ranked 17th. He's the highest ranking Mexican wrestler ever. Right?
Yeah.
And the people in front of him, we're talking, you know, like the big 4 of, like, you know, or like you're talking about 90s All Japan, you're talking about Omega, Ospreay, and Okada. Mm-hmm. Shingo, Tanahashi, Kota Ibushi, Manami Toyota, Ric Flair, both Young Bucks, Tetsuya Naito, Tomohiro Ishii. Did I say Shingo already?
Yeah, you said Shingo.
And you know, after that, we got Rey Fenix.
Yeah.
And then like Jumbo Tsuruta, then Kyoko Inoue, then Jun Akiyama, then Fuji, then his brother, Pentagon Jr., then Bryan Danielson. And, you know, so it's like, bro, like, this guy's one of the greatest wrestlers to ever live. Like, so
I mean, let's
get him, like, you know, let's let this guy show it, you know. So,
or let him show it in title matches, because it's like, y'all let him go out there and cook for 12 minutes at a time all the goddamn time, and you're blown away with the shit he does all the time. Like, yeah, man, like, I want to see him in title matches with, like, let him get 15 minutes in single matches. Like, the only time I think he ever got, like, you know, a real long time was a match against Nick Jackson, and he damn near got 5 stars in.
Right. Right. And it's like, you don't end up on, star ratings subjective, blah, 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 we know, whatever.
Yeah.
But, but when the list looks this good.
He's had some all-time great matches. Forget about the stars or whatever. He's had some of the best matches of a particular year in this company. And like, honestly, you look at the work rate thing, like the Lucha Bros, the Elite, Jon Moxley, Danielson. Anybody else got resumes like them in AEW as far as in-ring? At the top? Hangman? Hangman's Elite. Hangman's Elite. So that's Elite anyway.
Maybe I'll talk about MJF at this point, but I don't know. I would have to dig into it.
No.
Darby.
MJF is probably like in the top 10. He's not,
Yeah.
Because he doesn't wrestle that much.
But yeah, man, it's I'm happy to see him get this chance. Like, even though the circumstances are what they are. So
yeah.
Singles match with women's titles.
I sent Rich a celebratory video of Rey Fenix winning the title, even while like my dog Moxley is out there hurt, and I thought he may have his career was potentially damaged with what happened to his neck. But I was like, hey man, it's been long overdue. It's about damn time. Look, I hope Moxie's okay, but we still celebrating.
Yo. Oh, he's never coming back. Women's title. Saraya defeats Toni Storm in a match full of shenanigans that were wrestled like this person couldn't actually wrestle a real match. Hated it.
Didn't hate it, just didn't think it was very good or good at all. I just thought it was there. I did pop for some of the stuff they pulled out, like when Toni Storm went underneath the ring and grabbed shoes. I'm into the shoe thing. I'm into the throw the shoe thing. I'm into the goofiness of it. Like, I know that you're not, but it's fine. Like, I don't think it's like something where it's like, oh, that should be like the main event, like, or that should be like a top act or whatever else. I think it's a nice transition character until she finds whatever she's going to stick her teeth into post.
I don't think this is a transition, James. This is the stuff that's getting the biggest reactions, and like, people are going crazy. They're bringing signs. They're like giving them the engagement on social media with this.
I don't mind that.
It's here.
But the thing is, I don't necessarily mind that because of like, well, the alternative is what in this division, in this promotion, you know?
Too bad Jamie Hayter got hurt. The alternative is Statlander, but
Statlander has the matches, but she doesn't have the personality, or her personality doesn't, her charisma doesn't translate in the way that like you would think it would, like, because like she's adorkable, but like I don't think necessarily like she's tapped into that on screen in the way that like she did in the indies. Right? Mm-hmm. Like the stuff you've seen her do with the freestyle and shit with Max Caster or whatever else, and some of the stuff MJF,
I hope she don't tap into that.
Huh?
I hope she don't tap into that.
I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying that like she does have an adorable quality to her, and that she has to tap into that because like she was the stoic alien for a while that boot people on the nose, and now she's just kind of like just the wrestler. And I have no problem with the stoic, kick-ass, big, strong woman's wrestler. That's kind of what most of my favorite wrestlers in Japanese women wrestlers are. But like for here, it's like, oh, she brings matches. Like, I'm okay with that. But most people tell me they don't want people just be just wrestlers. Like, you think I do more than just wrestle on a wrestling promotion, on a wrestling show. So like, I'm fine with it. I just feel like people looking around and they like her. That people like normally be like, hey, we need more. They haven't claimed they need more from her. I'm just like, oh, so because you like her, she doesn't need to do more. Oh, got it.
They could just go Willow Nightingale,
I would like, look, I'm a fan of Willow Nightingale as well. I'm a fan of Athena as well. They're stuck on ROH. They gotta continue the dissension and the melodrama with the breakup of the Outcast right now. And whatever, I'd much rather see, as you mentioned, Statlander, Willow, Athena, Toni Storm, because she could wrestle with those women or whatever else, and she could be the personality that wrestles the rest, like someone like a Stat or whatever else. But like right now, she's stuck doing this, and yeah, man, Saraya is just an anchor. It is what it is.
Yeah. Then we got the main event. MJF versus Samoa Joe for the AEW World Championship. And James, I spent like 10 minutes of this match actively feeling like I didn't want to pay attention to the screen.
Well, he's wrestling in a t-shirt again in the main event of Arthur Ashe. So, I mean, I don't necessarily blame you. What I will say is I'm pretty sure I like this match more than you. However, a lot of the problems you're going to have with it are some of the same problems I have with it as far as the grand picture of it. Like, if MJF is going to be our scumbag and we're going to cheer for him, and the heat was that he would always have these dirty finishes where like no one ever really, you never saw who the better man was. And then overwhelmingly, as he's the good guy now, he gets his ass kicked by the bigger, stronger, overwhelmingly powerful Samoa Joe. And he has to take every shortcut under the sun, to finally win. It's like, well, that was a storyline when he faced Mox, and then ultimately it proved that he actually wasn't worthy of being the champion still because Regal had to help him out with the fucking ring. And what's he doing? He's a good guy and he's going back to the fucking ring. Can I see him actually beat somebody when he's actually trying hard, except for Adam Cole, because Adam Cole can't beat anybody worth a damn in his promotion? Like, the story, I get it, is WWE backwards reverse psychology of he's the bad guy, he's evil, but we like that he's evil, so he gets to cheat and do all this and cut all these corners. Meanwhile, the other guy that's getting cheated is the heel, and all he's doing is retaliating to what the good guy is doing. It's reverse psychology. It's basically like the bloodline in War Games or whatever else, and they're the good guys while they're the evil ones. It's the same shit. It's the backward stuff, but I don't know if people actually called it out because it's AEW, and like we don't actually call a spade a lot of times with AEW. Or not on this show, but in other places. So like it's all kumbaya or whatever else, but it's fundamentally fucked to me, and I don't enjoy watching this fundamentally fucked stuff. Even though like I understand, like I have WWE brain, so I understand the psychology of it and I'm fine with what they did. I just know that like, I don't want to watch this but the crowd reacted to it. So it worked. Yay.
Right. I'm just flummoxed that it continues to get the reactions that it does.
It got good drama with the near falls. I will say that. They absolutely, like the near fall. That's why I say like, I don't hate the match because like the near falls of them, oh my God, he got caught cheating. The good guy got caught cheating, and he finally got hit with his own ring, and he actually deserves to lose. He's an asshole that's been cheating all game. Oh my God, he's gonna and people fell for it. I never for a second thought Joe had a chance to win.
I never thought either.
To a motherfucker they fired. They knew they were gonna have to fire when they walked him out the ring. So like, no, of course he's not gonna fucking be the champion. So yeah.
This thing with the choke out at the end, and then Samoa Joe shakes this man's hand after getting royally fucked
over and over and over in the first act, second act, and third act.
I was like, this is damn near as bad as Sting getting hit in the face with a sledgehammer by Triple H and then shaking his hand.
It's technically worse because Joe should just
for the title.
It's for the title. It's for the title. He got screwed over by two guys. He never brought out a second guy. It's actually worse because like that match with the sledgehammer, the Sting, whatever, that was actually a no DQ match. Like we just thought it was this honor for Triple H to do that because it's like to showcase the Immortals. MJF is like, it's a Wednesday, so you know what that means. I'm finna give you some. I'm not finna show you who the better man was. I'm just finna move on to the next thing and do a house show match.
Yeah.
Or give house show effort for half the match. Like, it's really weird with him because, like, you can't say he's not trying. He's taking these crazy ass bumps in some of these matches too. But it's like, and then, at stretches he'll come out here and he's trying to give you like the good closing finish stuff, whatever else. And like I mentioned, like, it's a really creative and really, really suspenseful and drama filled, like, near falls, whatever else. But like, it's just, I do not enjoy some of these like the first and third acts of this stuff. And, I'm really like I'm really often left wanting more out of MJF.
At this point for me, I'm literally just putting it in a box now. And I'm like, all right, man.
It works. It's not for me.
like I'm just gonna send it over there because I know what I'm interested in this company.
It ain't that. Yeah,
and it ain't that. Like I want to see the the Omega versus Callis stuff. I want to see Eddie Kingston. I want to see Chris Jericho, Ray Phoenix, BCC.
Yeah,
like all these Swerve, Hangman, like all that stuff. Like literally just about everything else is on point for me right now. Danielson and Starks. Like I heard Collision was great this week, the best one yet. So it's like I feel like they are firing on all cylinders. And personally, with the MJF thing, I'm like, I'll just whatever. I don't have to go crazy on it every week. But if they do it at like the main event of some like big show, I'll let them have it. This was, more of the same kind of, but like I would say this was better than this is better than the All In match. I think, but
I think more people that aren't of the thinking that match was rotten think that like that match is very polarizing. I think this match is less polarizing. I'll put it like that. Even though I think like the action in the first match was at the high end was better. I just think, but there was less stopping and starting in like, am I a good guy? Am I not a good guy? Do I need to tell the story out loud? Like it was less of the tropey stuff in this match. There was still tropey stuff, but it wasn't like it was far less at the expense of the real drama and the real action. So yeah, I like this match more. I think more people like the other match a lot more. And I don't necessarily, and I get it. Because they're into the story. And I'm into the story too. It's just, I just hated how all the stopping and starting and like grown ass men can't, and like grown ass men in a fake sport can't like decide that they can fight each other as hard as they can until without
one of them dies.
Right. Like, I'm sorry. Like, look, man, I watch motherfuckers go to war or not go to war because I can't say that. Like, I see each other out here trying to, bash each other's brains in for 3 hours every weekend on Saturdays and Sundays. And after that, they fucking do the jersey swaps, right? Like, I don't know why. I understand that's supposed to be the drama, but like, can it be to where it's like, it could be for like 5 seconds where it's a bit of hesitancy as opposed to like, it takes 30 seconds to realize what the fuck you want to do while you're in the middle of doing it, whatever. But yeah, like, I it's not for me, but it's wildly successful for them. And I can't not afford it, right? The same thing with like, the Fiend stuff with Bray Wyatt. It's like, look, man, it's not for me, but like people are eating it the fuck up. And so it's working. And, variety, spice of life. I just wish that like this was lower on the card or whatever else. I just don't like it that it's the main event stuff, but whatever.
Yeah, I think there's just a lot more from my sensibilities that's elsewhere. Yeah. And Wrestle Dream is coming up this Sunday. We're kind of running low on time, so we're gonna not do a preview for that, but definitely don't miss next week. We'll do the review and all that. I'm gonna have to find a way to watch that because I'm gonna be traveling like Sunday back from out of town again. So we'll figure that whole situation out. But I think that's it, James.
Yeah. So I might hop on and do a solo show midweek or whatever else because like I haven't talked about the Grand Prix at all. And like the last month of it or 6 weeks of it. So catch up on that. Give the go home scenarios for all of it because like the final shows were Sunday. The final show was Sunday before the final. This is going to be on Saturday. So I'll do that on Thursday or whatever else. Put it up. Give you the scenarios. I'll do a mini preview for Wrestle Dream. You got to be careful with that. And then it's probably like an hour-long show or something like that. Maybe hour and 15. Who knows? But do that. And I'll put it on the feed and everything. And then like we'll just review both on Monday and just have a little show of tons of great wrestling because like that Wrestle Dream show is fucking stacked. And you know how these Grand Prix shows go. Like this could be the best week in pro wrestling between two pay-per-views we get all year.
Love it.
So yeah, thanks for watching, y'all. Be sure to rate us on whatever app you're using to listen to this. if you're watching from the stream, you can go to the podcast and go to the link to Red Circle, because I was looking at the thing. It's like, oh, our PayPal and our Cash App ain't up there. But like, if you know those or whatever else, like, you can go there. But like, if you can't, like, go to our Red Circle and go hit their donation link there. Let's other shows on the network. Besides One Nation Radio, you have Keepin' It Strong Style and All Things Elite. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Thanks for 11 years, James, and rest in peace, my dad.